moving north in northern Georgia and into the Tennessee and North Carolina mountain areas. We're on the edge of this, but because we've got that rotation, we've got lots of moisture coming in from a tropical air mass, and then also just the general idea that we're bringing in that moisture from the southeast up into our neck of the woods. It makes for a very unstable atmosphere. Broad picture here, folks. When you look at this, it's a tornado watch until 7 o'clock tonight, but notice that it's not over our area. Technically, it's back to the south and west, but because we're on the periphery of that and because we're kind of on the edge, that is something that we have to watch. So remember these safety tips in case you're in western North Carolina, and we're talking about Yadkin, Wilkes, and really Surry County. I think if I'm in Elkin right now, or maybe southwest parts of Surry County, the Jonesville area, I would keep an eye out because you're next in line to get these couple of cells that we've seen that have been sort of strengthening and weakening and strengthening back again. That's the next area of concern, is southwestern Surry County also. So you want to go to the lowest level of a well-built structure. Obviously that would be your home in most cases. By the way, if you're at work and this is going on, same thing applies, right? Most workplaces, especially the larger ones, they'll tell you what parts of the building are safe. And in fact, we even have it here at News 2. We have signs up that says tornado safety zone. So ask someone if you don't know, but you want to go to the lowest level of the structure. You want to take cover in a small central interior room. The reason for that is windows, of course, right? You don't want to be near that. They can blow out or blow in some cases and open you up for all kinds of issues. So in that central interior room, preferably no windows, and you want to stay there until the storm has passed. This is where having our app is so important, because we're looking at, basically you can't be in front of the TV all the time. So that app goes with you wherever you are, whether it's on a tablet or a laptop or even your cell phone. That was an image that we saw posted a short time ago from Iredell County, and just to let you know, you can see where it is really trying to spin up some activity there. Have we had confirmation on this particular one? Not yet. Remember the one before in parts around the Love Valley area? We did see a picture of someone that they sent it in of the cloud, and it looked like that funnel cloud was making it to the ground or trying desperately to get there. Definitely was a funnel cloud. So visual confirmation of that first one, although we can't tell if it actually reached the ground or not, and National Weather Service will be investigating these over the next few days just to see what was and what was not. Again, these are triggered automatically by the computers at the National Weather Service, and they look at the radar beam. When that beam sends out a signal and it comes back in a certain speed and direction, they know that we're seeing enough spin in the atmosphere that it would trigger one of these. And this one, the Wilkes and Yadkin County one, runs until 1:15. So Christian, we have about 30 more minutes with this.
Yeah, we do, and I want to pass along, just brand new from the National Weather Service, Emergency Management has confirmed there is a tornado on the ground with this area of rotation. So there is a tornado on the ground. If you are in these areas, you need to be in your safe spot right now. The most inner room in your home, away from doors and windows. Get there now. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Take your phone with you. You can watch our live coverage. You can carry the radar with you there. And even if you don't live in these areas, call your family, call your friends, call the folks you know in these areas now and let them know that there is a confirmed tornado in these areas. This area of rotation, this is where the tornado is, right along Highway 901, moving north of Jennings in Iredell County, and this is going to be moving into our viewing area right along the Wilkes County and Yadkin County line over the next 10 to 15 minutes. So this storm actually has showed signs of strengthening. This area of rotation also has been strengthening up over the next couple of minutes. So this is, or the last couple of minutes, this is a really tight area of rotation that we're watching. The wind's coming like this and the wind's coming like this. That's how the storm is spinning, and that's what we're watching. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer and try to call out some of the roads here. Again, moving north right along Highway 901 right now, and over the next few minutes we'll be moving right over into Wilkes County and into Yadkin County. So what we're looking at right now is Iredell Line Road. This is also, I can't read this, let me zoom in a little bit closer. So this is also Somers Road here, and this is also Mafia Road right here. So this is that area of rotation that we're watching. Again, in the southeastern corner of Wilkes County is where that storm is producing a tornado, confirmed by emergency management officials there in Iredell County. And I'm going to switch over real quick on our debris detection and see if we can see this. Now, one issue I'm looking at, I mentioned a couple minutes ago, where you start to see these colors change, gives us indication that there could be debris being lofted into the air. But this is on the back side of that radar scan. So this may not be the clearest picture that we're looking at, but nonetheless, there is likely being some some debris being lofted in the air in these areas just north, the north portion of Iredell County, again leaving the county now right along Highway 901 and moving into Wilkes County and Yadkin County. So if you're just joining us, we do have a tornado warning for Yadkin County and also Wilkes County. The time now 12:47. You're watching WFMY News 2, and what we're watching is this storm leaving Iredell County, moving into Wilkes County and Yadkin County. This is really going to move right up the line, right up the county line, moving into Newcastle, moving into the Windsor Crossroads area over the next few minutes. And if this holds together, we'll eventually move right over Highway 421 as well. So if you're in these areas, you need to be in your safe spot now. You need to stay there until this storm passes. And I'm going to put a little storm track on it for you too, just so you get a good idea. The storm has a bit of a westward component too, so it's really kind of moving northwest. So if you live in Windy Gap, this storm may clip you in the next several minutes. If you live in Newcastle, Summers Crossroads, if you live in Cycle or in Clingman up in Wilkes County, you are all in the path of this storm right now. And rough arrival times up here for you on the right. Again, don't take these to the bank. They're just an estimate. You need to be in your safe spot now in anticipation that the storm holds together and could cause damage in your home. Now, if you are in that safe spot and there is damage to your home, don't come out until this storm passes. Also, make sure you're wearing tennis shoes. Make sure you're wearing something to protect your eyes. A helmet's a great idea to protect you from flying debris. And if you have shoes on, you're not going to want to walk out into your home if there's debris on the floor, debris that's been lofted into the air, and walk over that with bare feet. So carry shoes with you, something to protect your eyes. Glasses is a great idea, and also a helmet to wear as you go into that safe spot and stay there until this storm passes. So we're going to continue to keep eyes on this. I'm going to continue to investigate this storm more and check in with our folks at the National Weather Service. For the moment, I'm going to toss it back to you, Eric, over in the next studio.
All right, I want us to take a look at this because obviously with these cells, you get a lot of rain in a small area in a short amount of time. That always spells trouble for flooding, especially in mountain and foothill communities. When you're in that terrain of the mountain and foothills and you get that runoff, flooding is really more of an issue on the average in the Northwest Piedmont than it is even over the Triad in our area. And indeed, they've issued this flash flood watch. Now, this goes for most of the Southern Virginia counties. I mean, you're looking at Carroll Patrick counties in this, and Allegheny, Ashwaubenon, Wilkes, Surrey County. They've covered that entire area with this flash flood watch, and this will go until noon tomorrow. Remember, when you get that quick, heavy rains, those downbursts of rain, there's a delay from when you get that rain until you see the flooding, because that runoff happens and a lot of those tributaries and rivers come together, and that's when you get that bottleneck effect and then flooding along that. If you know that you're in an area that floods when we get heavy thunderstorms in the summertime, then you keep an eye out for this, because if you get it for that, you'll definitely get it for this type of thing. So I've overlaid this flash flood watch just so you can see that that extends all the way until the lunch hour tomorrow that we'll be looking for that. Zooming back in again, just to kind of give you the heads up, this is that area that we were concerned with. Remember, it was down around the Jennings area, which is just to the east of Love Valley, where we had the first tornado possibility pop up there. And we did have a viewer put a picture in of that one and actually sent it to the affiliate in Charlotte that picked that up, and we saw it. It looked like it was confirmed on the ground. This is the one. It's moved a good 20 miles or so in the last hour, and that's headed toward the Newcastle and Windy Gap area. Normally, I would say, and looking at this, that's impressive enough for me that I would have a little bit of concern. This is heading just up toward 421. Here's 77 and 421 if you're familiar with that area. This is to the west and a little bit south from that. Newcastle, next in line for that, if that indeed is reaching the ground now. We do not have visual confirmation yet. If it's reaching the ground, Christian's right about taking those precautionary moves and measures. Take the app with you. You can watch us on that. You can watch the watches and warnings and see a live radar. That is invaluable in these times because, and a lot of people will listen to our tips and they say, are you serious? Do you really want us to get into that? Yes, this is the type of situation where you have to take some measures and just make sure you're safe, right? Better safe than sorry. If you're in a workplace, tell your coworkers. If you know people that live in that area, but that's not where you are, let them know right now that that Newcastle area and the Windy Gap area, that is next in line. Within 30 minutes, maybe less, they will feel the effects of that as it pushes back to the north. Now we'll go out to a wide shot here. We call this looking upstream, basically, in weather terms, but it just means you look down to see how these bands of moisture are moving, what's their general direction, who's next in line to see this. And anywhere along what really this almost is like an outer band, But we do have that stationary front to the north that's kind of helping in this situation to make it even worse, to be honest. But all that instability, what that means is that it can pop up anywhere, anytime. If you've been watching us for the last hour, you know we've already seen 3 different sections of these counties popped up, and we call them polygons, but where they draw the area to show where the tornado warning is happening. We've seen 3 of those in the last hour. You can expect this type of activity. A lot of it may be precautionary with the radars just triggering these based on rotation, but we don't know if it's on the ground or not yet. But with the situation that we're in now, how unstable we are, you will see that, I think, all the way as late as maybe even 7 or 8 o'clock tonight, we could see this type of activity. We were talking about this yesterday. It is all associated with Fred and the stationary front that's to our north, but anytime you have a tropical system, the atmosphere from top to bottom is just saturated in moisture. When we get a normal rainstorm, yeah, we'll have some showers moving through, but we don't have that rotation quite frequently. They usually just develop wherever they are and then rain themselves out. When we have that rotation, all that moisture, all that instability, temperatures are above 80, that's when we watch for this type of activity, and we definitely can see that. Now, technically, this tornado watch is to our south and west, but I hesitate to even show this to you because I don't want you thinking like, oh, we're good then. No, we're not, and that's why we're seeing these little pop-up storms here and there that could develop. Central room and the lowest level. Don't get in the 2nd or 3rd floor of the buildings. That's where you have some damage. If there were to be a tornado moving through and you're on those upper floors and it were to collapse the structure or even part of it, you'd be in greater danger than you would be if you're on the bottom level. Stay inside. If you're thinking to myself, now where would I go because it doesn't meet all the criteria here in my particular building, whether you're at work or at home. The thing you need to remember is just in the middle and as low as you can. We always say the bathtub because that's like a natural barrier around you to protect you in case debris starts flying all over the place. If walls were to cave in, then you need that structure around you. You do need something over your head. Christian mentioned a helmet. If you're a cyclist, that would work. Anything just to cover your head and put it over you while you're in that bathtub, and you need to stay there until you know that storm is passed, and you'll know because you'll be able to hear it as it moves by. All right, Christian, so this is the latest update here, the flash flood watch until tomorrow at noon for our Northwest Piedmont communities. What else are you seeing?
All right, I do want to draw you back out to our attention here and show you the warning that we're talking about. So this is the tornado warning. It does include Wilkes County and it does include Yadkin County. And it's still continuing for Iredell County. And even though that's not in our viewing area, I know there's some folks that watch us over the air here. So let me sound the all clear for you. If you're in Iredell County, even though you still have a warning, the storm is now not even at all in the county. It's likely not even raining in Iredell County right now. This has become a Wilkes County storm and a Yadkin County storm. And this is really kind of skirting the county line between Wilkes and Yadkin. So if you're in Yadkinville, if you're in Forbush, you're not included in this warning, okay? You're fine, you're all clear. But if you're in just the extreme western corner here of Yadkin County, this does include you. But in the next few minutes, if you're in Rena, Marlar, Winters Crossroads, I'm going to sound the all clear for you because the storm is really not moving toward you. It's moving mainly north and west. It's got this westward component to it. So it's going to be crossing right over Highway 421 in the next few minutes. But if you're in Orbsonville, if you're in Newcastle, you are absolutely in your safe spot right now. You've got tennis shoes on, you've got goggles on, you've got a helmet on to protect you from any flying debris that may be able to pierce through doors and windows. If you're in Windy Gap, this storm is moving toward you. If you're in Klingman, if you're up in Rhonda, you're in your safe spot now in anticipation that this storm holds together. So this is moving off to the north and west. But what I'm seeing over the last few minutes is that the reds and the greens where they mix are not quite as bright as they were. And it's starting to broaden out a little bit. So that shows me that the storm could be weakening down a bit and maybe this rotation isn't as strong. But for the last several minutes, ever since we've been on TV, this has been a strong area of rotation and at one point was a confirmed tornado by emergency management down in Iredell County. So this is what we're watching very closely. Even though it's weakening a bit, there's potential that it could re-strengthen and re-spin back up and become strong again. So we're going to watch that very closely. Still spinning absolutely. And again, if you're in Newcastle, Windy Gap, if you're along Highway 421, Klingman, Delaplane, up in Rhonda, this is all moving toward you over the next few minutes. You're in your safe spot now. I want to zoom out a little bit on a wider view. I don't want to forget about our folks in other places across the triad. Of course, the only warning that we have for our area at this moment is for Wilkes County and for Yadkin County. And pretty soon I expect Yadkin County to be trimmed out of this warning because the storm is really kind of moving to the west of Yadkin County right now. Meanwhile, we do have some other showers and storms that are popping up. One thing we've been watching over the last hour or so is the downpours that were popping up in Randolph County. They've now kind of congealed into one storm. This is still a strong storm. It's leaving Randolph County moving right along Highway 220 or I-73 up into Guilford Suffolk County. So moving through Trinity, Archdale, up into High Point over the next few minutes. And I'm going to check this just to see if there's any strong signs of rotation. I'm not seeing it at the moment right now, but this without a doubt could strengthen up and could start to spin a bit. So that's something we'll be keeping an eye on. Now today, the severe weather risk, I want to show you this, is mainly from the mountains and the foothills back to the east up into the Triad. So this is the area that we're watching for the possible isolated tornado, really from the mountains through the foothills and up into the Triad. East of Greensboro, that chance and that risk gets much lower just because of the way the storm is tracking. The remnants of Fred are kind of moving right up along the spine of the Appalachian. So we're going to continue to keep our eyes out for severe storms and possibly that tornado as we go throughout the afternoon and through the evening. So let me draw you back in here and kind of reset for you here. The time now is 12:57. You're watching WFMY News 2, and we are breaking into regular programming because we do have a tornado warning in our area, and that is for Wilkes County. And of course, that goes for about the next 15 minutes up until 1:15, unless they decide to extend this warning anymore. So again, this is the storm that we're watching. Again, it's now out of Iredell County. This warning is still in place for you, but the storm is out of your area. So I'm going to sound the all clear for you if you're watching us down in Iredell County over the air. This is the storm cell that we're watching moving right over Yadkin County and Wilkes County, right along that county border. This is going to be moving north, could clip Elkin, but moving into Rhonda over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. And there's another strong cell about to move into North Wilkesboro, but it's not showing signs of rotation that could be producing a tornado at this time. Strongest area of rotation that we're watching right now, if you're in Newcastle, this is right over you. You see these reds and these greens starting to mix. And like I mentioned, this could re-strengthen, it could re-tighten up, and that's what I'm seeing right here. And over the last few scans, it was weakening down a bit, kind of broadening out, and now it looks like it's re-strengthened again. You see these bright greens and see these reds really starting to mix. That shows you where the winds are coming into the radar this way and coming away from the radar that way. That shows you where that spinning is. And if these tighten up and get closer together and get brighter, nonetheless, that could produce yet another tornado. Again, was earlier confirmed down in Iredell County by emergency management. What I'm looking at right now is what we call our debris detection. This is a correlation coefficient. And what it shows us is, you notice all this burgundy color up to the north? That shows us that everything that is falling from the sky is the same kind of target, meaning that all of this is rain. But where the colors start to change is where we start to see possible debris being lofted into the air. And I really don't like what I see near Newcastle. This absolutely could be producing, again, another tornado, or could have re-strengthened up, and this could be lofting debris up into the air. So if you are in Newcastle, you are in your safe spot right now, and you are not moving until this storm passes you. If you have friends and family in this area, call them now. Let them know that there's a possible tornado right over their neighborhood. They may be watching Hulu or Netflix or doing something else this afternoon, but this is a life-saving alert that you need to call them and let them know. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this. This storm, again, moving off to the north and to the west. It will cross over 421 over the next 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here and call out some of your towns. If you're in Windy Gap, if you're in Delaplane, Rhonda's up here just to the north out of view of the screen. If you're up in Klingman and you're in Newcastle, you are in your safe spot right now. Again, storm moving off to the north and west. And right now the warning doesn't include Hayes or North Wilkesboro, but with the motion of this storm, I wouldn't be surprised if this warning is extended. So if you're in Hayes, if you're in North Wilkesboro, you are paying close attention to the storm. And if that warning gets extended, we'll pass it along to you. Eric, are you seeing anything different? Have you heard anything from our folks at the National Weather Service as far as damage reports go?
You know, I haven't with that. However, we did get some video that we found, and social media is lighting up and people are seeing this. Look at this video, and this is from Old Mountain Road in Iredell County. If you're wondering where that is, it's to the west of Statesville. It looks like that tornado made it to the ground, and this person was actually videoing it as it made its way down. Yeah, you can see when he zooms in there, that is a developing tornado for sure. We'll keep you posted if we hear any actual damage reports or not. This was sent to our sister station in the Charlotte area. So that is west of Statesville and just to the west of where I-40 and Highway 64 split, if you know where that is. That is to the west of that and that entire system. That's part of the same system that we're talking about right now. So obviously it is really trying hard, if it hasn't already, to develop a full-on tornado that has made it to the ground. Usually, sometimes we won't see video confirmation, but in this case, people are watching. Thank goodness you're posting, and everybody do that. If you're in those areas and you see it and you're in a safe place, take a picture, take a video, let us know. This keeps us all better informed, doesn't it? And this is the only tornado warning that's active right now is for parts of eastern Wilkes and in Yadkin County. Now, we also have seen, we mentioned that flash flood watch, which is in effect for parts of our viewing area, mostly back up to the north and west. It basically runs from Surrey, Allegheny, Ashe, Watauga. So that's Boone up toward Jefferson, Sparta, and Mount Airy, and Wilkes County. All of that in a flash flood watch, and that runs until tomorrow at noon for that area. Now, the tornado watch has crept up toward the Shelby area, which is south of Hickory. That's an area we'll be watching as well, and to see if they extend that. Here's what it looks like on the graphic. Again, the flash flood watch in effect, and now Surrey County, of course, in that. To the north, we've got Carroll County, Patrick County in Virginia. They're under that as well. Anywhere we see the mountain and foothill communities, we'll see that flash flood watch. That's till noon. And then 7 o'clock tonight, that's the tornado watch. It goes from Hickory down toward the Shelby area, so technically a little bit away from us. You know, Hickory's a several-hour ride for most of us, but that too could be extended at least a little bit to the east. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see that tornado watch maybe creep closer to, say, Davie County in the next little bit, and possible just to the south of Wilkes County. We'll keep you posted on that. The chance of this, and we're seeing these little spin-up tornado possibilities, the chance is still low. It's still only about a 10%, but we are seeing that development. And sometimes National Weather Service has to back things up a little bit, reassess things, and we'll, of course, watch that and let you know. This is the rotation that we've seen. That area just to the west of Newcastle is fairly impressive, folks, and we have seen that. You know, every time that sweep goes by the radar beam and it processes the new information, you see it just changing all the time, right? Looking a little disorganized to the north of that, but fairly organized just to the west and north of Newcastle. So that is along Highway 421, basically between State Road or State Highway 115, which is to the south of North Wilkesboro, and then over here toward 21 and 77. 21 goes to Sparta and through the Elkin area. Here's I-77. So it's right in between those two regions, north and west of Newcastle. If you live anywhere, and if you're familiar with this neck of the woods, you know 268, that goes up toward Pilot Mountain as well. That area in Wilkes County is the one that we're concerned with, and also western Yadkin County. As it moves along, looks pretty good. In fact, that radar sweep just went by, and that looks more organized now. This is a fluid situation, right? Every single time we see that beam go by and we get more information. Oh, and look, and now they've changed the tornado warning. Let's go back. It looks like they've extended that north. I'm going to zoom back in. Pardon me for a minute as we cycle through a few graphics here. I want you to get to the actual radar locally so you can see this. It is something that we're going to have to keep close attention to. Christian, I'm going to go back to you just for a minute because I'm having trouble with this. Back to your computer. I just want to see that larger area so we can see where they've extended that tornado warning to.
Yeah, sure, Eric. So taking a look here, they just changed this warning a bit. And notice a couple minutes ago we were talking about Clingman, we were talking about Rhonda, Delaplane, Windy Gap, and they've trimmed that warning down to include all of these areas. So as Eric mentioned just a couple minutes ago, this area of rotation has continued to strengthen up over the last several minutes. So you notice these bright greens and these reds getting tighter and mixing closer together. That shows us that there is still tight rotation. And just a couple minutes ago, we do have some storm spotters on the ground in that area, and they are reporting that this tornado is still on the ground and could have possibly been on the ground since it was spotted down in Iredell County, of course, moving up through Wilkes County now. And what I want to do again, I'll show you this in just a minute, but I do want to sound the alarm for some folks. Right along Highway 421, okay? So if you're up in Clingman, if you're up in Rhonda, if you're in Delaplane or Windy Gap or anywhere in between, you are in your safe spot right now. This storm is moving to the north and west and is going to be moving into your area over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Still getting reports that there is a tornado on the ground with this area of rotation. And one thing I look at a lot, it kind of helps us show where there could be a tornado on the ground, and it helps us get a little bit better idea of where that confirmation is. We show you this correlation coefficient, or the debris detection monitor that we show. And a lot of times on the edge of this scan, this would be a little suspect. But since we have reports of that confirmed tornado on the ground, this is absolutely showing me that there's debris or something being lofted into the air where that tornado is on the ground. So if you're in Newcastle, this storm is just now to the north of you, but you're still in your safe spot. You're still not letting your guard down until this gets well past you. If you're in Windy Gap, it's still super windy here. There's some rotation in that area as well. But that center of the area of rotation that we're watching, where that strongest rotation is right about to move over Highway 421. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here and kind of show you what we're talking about, show you some of these roads here. So this is Wilkes Yadkin Road right here. This is old Highway 60 here. This is Highway 421, and that's where that area of rotation is the strongest and where that tornado that has been confirmed to be on the ground could be moving right now. Again, moving off to the north and west. So if you're in Roaring River, if you're in Rhonda, if you're in Delaplane, you are in your safe spot now and you are staying there. Yadkin County, we were talking about you just a couple minutes ago. You've now been trimmed out of this warning, so let me sound the all clear for you. So Yadkinville or anywhere in Yadkin County, you are in the clear. Iredell County, you've been trimmed out of this too. Even though that's not our area, I know some folks are watching us over the air there. So again, this is the area of rotation that we're watching with this strong thunderstorm that has been producing a tornado over the last several minutes, moving right over Highway 421 over the next few minutes. Now, north Wilkesboro, Hayes, you're not in this warning right now, but if this rotation stays strong and it stays together, this warning will be extended up to include you. So make sure you're paying attention, and even if you don't live in those areas, if you have family and you have friends in that area, let me stress this again, call them right now. Do not wait. Call them now and let them know that they have a severe storm that is producing a tornado that could be headed for them over the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. And again, if you're in your safe spot, you're wearing tennis shoes, you're wearing goggles, you're wearing a helmet, all things to protect you from any flying debris. And once this storm moves past you, if there is damage or there is debris in the floor of your home, you're going to want to walk over it with shoes on and not with bare feet. So make sure you're protecting yourself in the most inner room in your home, away from doors and windows. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on this, but there's still signs of strong rotation, very concerning to me when I look at it. And if we zoom out on a wider view, this is the only warning that we have in our area right now. The only warning we have does include Wilkes County, and they continue to trim this down a little bit more because the storm, I think Eric mentioned it a couple minutes ago, is what we call training, meaning it's sitting over the same spot and really not moving a whole lot over the last few minutes. So that's why this warning has been trimmed down. And again, we'll continue to watch it to see if that rotation holds together. In the meantime, I am keeping my eye on these storms that are leaving Randolph County now, moving north into Guilford County. So Trinity, Archdale, High Point getting in on some torrential rain right now and also some gusty winds. This is not showing signs of rotation. There's not a warning on this. This is not a severe thunderstorm at the moment, but it could become one at any point. That's what we'll be watching today. Any of these little downpours that start to pop up will have the ability to become severe and will have the ability to rotate and eventually form a tornado. And that's what we'll be watching. The radar will likely get even busier as we go throughout the afternoon and dinner time hour. So again, the time now is about 10 minutes after 1 o'clock. You're watching WFMY News 2, meteorologist Christian Morgan alongside Eric Chilton, bringing you a tornado warning for Wilkes County. And this goes for about the next 5 minutes unless they decide to extend this warning. So I'm going to check in real quick with our folks at the National Weather Service here and see what they're saying. Eric, have you seen anything different or something I may have missed over the last couple minutes?
No, I like what you were talking about with let's look at just the thunderstorms, because we do see a really strong line of storms that's moving to the north. In fact, the National Weather Service in Raleigh, which governs the heart of the triad, they put out a special weather statement just a short time ago saying that these storms that we're seeing, and you see they're around Pleasant Garden, High Point, moving to the north. So if you're in southern Guilford County, you're already in the thick of it here. And this is lifting north and a little bit to the west just because of the rotation. So if you're in western and southern parts of Guilford County, even southeastern Forsyth, but really they were talking more about northern Davidson, Randolph, and then central Guilford County. You could see these wind gusts within the thunderstorms, just the thunderstorms alone going up to 30, 35 mile per hour wind gusts. That's strong enough to do a little bit of wind damage. So know that that's moving in your area, and these are moving really fast, by the way. We have less than 5 minutes left on that tornado warning in Wilkes County, but it's really picking up forward. All these cells are moving by very quickly. That's good from a sense of a flooding standpoint. Maybe it's not staying over our area that long, but again, we mentioned that training, and that's something that you don't like, where the storms develop and move along a line one after the other like a roller coaster on the track, and you just get one storm and then another and another, and that's when you do see a flooding possibility. And we do have that chance. This looks fairly impressive. This is that area near Klingman and just to the north of Highway 421 in Wilkes County. And Rhonda is just up here to the north as well. This is probably going to move between the Roaring River area and Rhonda in Wilkes County in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And that does look fairly impressive. We have seen reports and seen pictures of funnel clouds 2 times in Wilkes County that looked impressive enough to possibly be a tornado. We'll let you know. All of this, of course, associated with Fred, as we can see the center of circulation now over there north of Atlanta. It's really more of a flooding situation for western parts of the mountains and into Tennessee. And then now we see this. This is fairly new, and we mentioned this. Remember, I talked about this a few minutes ago, that I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see this tornado watch extended to the north. I'm going to step out of the way. If we could take that full, that's fine, and I'll manipulate this a little bit. But it looks like they have indeed done that, and based on all of this activity, that's not a shock to any of us, is it? And we'll check this real quick, and we call it doing a query on it. But you can see from Allegheny, Ashe, Watauga, Wilkes County. Now they include Yadkin County in this, and I'll move the name so you can see. Surrey County, even heading over to Stokes and Rockingham, and all of our southern Virginia counties, from Martinsville back over to Cana, Virginia, and in that area, Galax, all under a tornado watch until tonight at 7 p.m. So the Raleigh National Weather Service office now kind of getting a handle on things too, and keeping us posted with all of that. Interesting, this cell, even though it's moving at a fast rate of speed, it is fairly strong and organized as well. We have technically, what, 2.5 minutes left on this tornado warning, but again, don't be surprised if we see that edited, and it might be extended a little bit more to the north. We'll keep you posted on that. It is the type of situation that it's, because this is so fluid and changing so fast, if you're in the Rhonda area, I would take some action, some precautionary action at this point, and then Trap Hill, you're next in line. You can kind of see the general motion here as all of this drifts back to the north and to the west. And usually when we see Doppler indicated, that's one thing for a tornado warning, but we've seen visual confirmation twice that looks like a developed funnel cloud. Now, whether it reached to the ground, how long it stayed on the ground, all of that remains to be seen. We'll have to do some investigating. The National Weather Service will take a look at all that, but this is fairly strong, and it really warrants you taking this seriously at that point. Again, the Rhonda area next in line. I'll go in a little tighter here, and so you can see it right along. That's Highway 268, if I remember correctly, and so you see the Rhonda area there. Yeah, that's going to be moving in your neck of the woods in the next few minutes. Lomax community, and then followed by Trap Hill, needs to pay close attention to this. And I would say also, if you're in Allegheny County in Sparta, watch out for this as well. We're going to keep an eye on it. If we hear anything else on social media as well, please post your pictures if you are safe and can do so. If you see anything that looks suspect, we would love to have some sort of visual confirmation. Christian, are you available right now? I was going to see what you're looking at.
Yeah, Eric, just continuing to track this, and this still looks like a strong area of rotation to me, so I would not be surprised if they extend this warning at any moment right now. Of course, rough arrival times here for you on the right. The storm is moving to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour, and there you go. That polygon has been expired at the moment, but I'm going to hang here for just a couple minutes to see if they decide to issue a new one for Wilkes County. This is moving off to the northwest, again at about 25 miles per hour, so if you're in Roaring River, if you're in DeHart, if you're in Abshers or McGrady, this is all moving toward you over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. And what we've been watching, again, if you're just now joining us, we've had a tornado warning for Wilkes County for this area of rotation here. This is just north of Highway 421, right over Klingman right now, right over Delaplane, and moving into Rhonda. And there were confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground with this system all the way, or with this storm, all the way from Iredell County up into Wilkes County over the last couple minutes. But maybe the National Weather Service is seeing something I'm not seeing, but this still looks like a strong area of rotation to me. So bear with me just a minute. I'm going to check in with our folks at the National Weather Service and just see if they're talking about possibly reissuing that warning for that area of rotation there. And it's very possible that just based on this location and where the radar is located up in Roanoke, Virginia, that's the one that we look at for this, it's very possible that this area of rotation is a little higher up in the atmosphere, so this may not actually be making it down to the ground. There's another way that I can kind of look at this and check it for you, and that's going to be this debris signature, or what we call a correlation coefficient in meteorology. Where you see all this burgundy color, that shows you that whatever's falling from the sky is likely the same thing. So all of this is rain here, but where we start to see bright blues and yellows start to pop up, that gives us indication there could be debris being lofted into the air. I'm not seeing that as strong as I was several minutes ago, and I can actually back this up for you just a couple minutes to show you what I'm talking about. If we back this up a few minutes, notice where you see these greens and these yellows popping up here right along Highway 421. That was likely still debris being lofted into the air, especially based off the fact that we had confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground. So we're continuing to keep our eyes on this, but right now that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. I still see an area of rotation here. Eric, I'm going to toss it back to you just a second, and you can tell me if you're seeing something different. We'll get to him in just a second, actually, sorry. So let me zoom out one more time and get a get a reset here for you and show you what we're watching. We've been tracking this cell in Wilkes County that has been producing a tornado. There's likely debris on the ground. There's likely some damage in these areas. I can't report that officially, but we are having our folks in the newsroom call on that. And again, as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon, we're going to be keeping close eyes on the radar for any downpours or any storms that pop up, because they will have the ability to rotate. And Eric, are you close by real quick? Gotcha. Okay. Thanks, control room. So what I'm still watching, again, this warning is not included Wilkes County, but I'm still seeing a strong area of rotation that looks concerning to me. What I'm looking at right along Highway 421 here, and this is in Wilkes County. Yadkin County, you were earlier in this tornado warning. You've now been trimmed out. So this area of rotation right along Highway 421, you see these bright greens and you see these reds where they start to mix and kind of coincide with each other. That's the area of rotation that we're watching. That shows us that the winds are coming toward the radar here in green and going away from the radar there in red. And that's that area of rotation that's been very strong over the last hour or so while we've been tracking this for you. So if you're in Hayes, if you're up in Trap Hill, if you're in North Wilkesboro, I think you're mostly in the clear, but Hayes and Trap Hill could still be under the gun with this storm. It doesn't really have a northward motion anymore. It's got more of a northwestward motion, and that's likely why we saw that warning trimmed down over the last several minutes. So this is something that I'm going to be closely keeping an eye on. That's the only storm at the moment that's been looking concerning to me. Nothing else yet on the in the triad has looked very concerning. Now, nonetheless, this is still a strong thunderstorm, although it's not severe. Leaving Randolph County, it's now in Guilford County. So High Point, Archdale, Trinity getting soaked with torrential rain. There's likely some gusty winds in here as well. And I haven't really seen too much lightning in these storms as well. So that's good news. But this will be moving into Greensboro. Downtown Greensboro is about to get soaked. Summerfield, you're going to be up in the next 15 to 20 minutes. McLeansville, you're also going to be up in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. And you notice this little bit of this kind of a line that's starting to form. This is likely kind of one of those most outer bands of Fred as it moves close by. And I'm going to zoom out on an even wider view and show you that. Of course, all of this as a result of what is now tropical depression Fred. The center of circulation, of course, just to the north of Atlanta. You see these outer bands. The strongest outer band has been producing several tornado warnings down in Georgia and in the upstate of South Carolina as we've gone throughout the morning. And this will likely move into the Piedmont as we go into the dinner time hour and into the nighttime hours as well. So mainly our tornado threat is going to come to an end once dark arrives. We'll still keep a close eye on things. And I also want to draw your attention to this too. This is pretty new over the last couple minutes, and I don't know if we've mentioned this or not, but there is now a tornado watch that has been issued for our north and west counties. And of course, we see that playing out very evident over the last hour. So this, of course, does include Surry County. This includes Stokes County, parts of Rockingham County, parts of Guilford County, Forsyth County, Yadkin County, and absolutely does include Wilkes County as well. This goes until 7 o'clock, and as we've seen, the conditions are right for tornadoes to form. Let me toss it over to Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley, who's here now. Tim, you can tell me what you're seeing.
Well, Christian, thanks for tossing over here. We do not have a tornado warning at the moment. I was just going to say, I thought they were going to issue a new one. Here it is. This just popped onto our screen, and I do think that's a good call. Based on what we're seeing here, it looks like this storm number 1 has produced a confirmed tornado. It still looks as strong as it did before on radar, so all indications are that we still have a tornado threat, which very well may be on the ground now for Wilkes County. This is only a Wilkes County storm. I do not want you to be thinking that you're still in danger in Yadkin or in Surry or even other counties at the moment. But this is what we're looking at for reference. Elkin, you're very close, but this is not coming your way. The storm is just to your south and just to your west. It just moved through the small community of Rhonda. So we're right along the 421 highway area, just near Rhonda. This is moving to the north and to the west. Kind of a weird direction for storms to move in our area. But this is because it's a tropical system. Tropical systems to our west, and that's that rotation that we often see. Now, if we zoom in a little bit closer, I'm going to put some roads on here for you. This is Highway 268. Highway 268 going through the Rhonda community. That's where the storm is right now. So some other small communities, perchance we have Benham, we have Lomax. Apologies if I'm not saying them correctly. This is moving toward you. So Lomax, you would be in the path of this storm coming up next. And then eventually what this cell is going to do, it's going to move up in elevation. So it's going to go up the hill, and then eventually it runs into the Blue Ridge up that way. So it's very possible that might cause this to get disrupted and fall apart. But for the moment, we're still tracking a storm that could be producing a tornado right near near the Rhonda community. So this is in Wilkes County. It's right on the eastern edge of Wilkes County. There are some wineries in this area you might be familiar with. There are also some farm communities and small towns. This storm is in a rural spot, but we want you to be safe. If you have friends and family in this area, make sure they are taking shelter from this storm. As Christian has been tracking this for you, one of the tools he uses now that we have only gotten in the last couple of years is called debris detection. What we can do with radar is we can actually tell the differences between raindrops and debris. And it was likely that we've seen some debris lofted into the atmosphere with this storm. We saw that way back in 2018 with the Greensboro tornado. Debris was detected and actually traveled many miles up into Rockingham County. That could be the situation here. Now, when I'm looking at velocity, I will tell you this signature here, when I say that, I'm looking for the reds up against the greens. It has gotten slightly less impressive over the last couple of scans. Not quite as bad as it looked just a little bit ago, but that is still something of a big concern. Now, the tornado threat is going to continue, I'm sorry to say, but as we look at Futurecast here, even this is carrying us all the way through the late evening. This is around 1 in the morning. So I want you to just kind of, even if you're watching from anywhere in the Triad, Greensboro, Burlington, Asheboro, Reedsville, be paying attention because we do have this tornado risk that lasts through the early overnight hours. And then by tomorrow will actually be much better. But that is something we really have to pay attention to, not just for now, but for several hours into the late evening. We have a tornado watch for the area until 7 o'clock, but there might be more of those issued a little later on. On a wider view, this is all because of Tropical Depression Fred. The center of the storm is near Atlanta, Georgia. Winds are not strong because it is a tropical depression. Farther south though, so here's the Wilkes County tornado warning. We have a couple others in South Carolina at the moment. So there are several storms that are trying to spin with this one at the time being. So this is not an isolated incident. We'll even watch carefully the storm that's moving into Guilford County. It's not that potent at the moment, but it is bringing rainfall, gusty winds perhaps, nothing spinning right now, and that's good news. But back into Wilkes County we go. This storm is not impacting Wilkesboro. If you are south of 421, you're good to go. There's not an issue for you. But to the north, this is a storm warning for Wilkes County, tornado warning until 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll watch that storm near Hayes also. Both of these are moving in that northwest direction. This is going to get very close to Stone Mountain State Park. If you're familiar with that part of Wilkes County, that's really where it's headed, and it's going to pass quite close to it. Closer view here, and I'm actually going to start to draw some maps manually, so if y'all want to take this full, we could get folks even a closer view. This is going to be right near Rhonda, so I want to put some closer roads on here. Might be some small roads. South Lomax Road at the moment, Tharp Mill Road, looking at Austin Little Mountain Road and Greenhorn Road. You are right in the thick of it at this time with this storm. And if we put a little bit of a tracker on this for you, let me read the warning text so I can tell you exactly how quickly this is moving. Until 2 o'clock, this storm is moving north and west at 25 miles per hour. So if we track this at 25 miles per hour, we're going to be able to show this going up toward the Blue Ridge Parkway in short order. So here's the storm moving up toward Trap Hill. The storm should be moving in your direction by about 1:39. We're looking at an arrival in Trap Hill. Abshers, about 1:50. The Downton Recreation area, that should be right along that Blue Ridge Parkway area. That will be closer to 2 o'clock. So that is right when the warning would be expiring. Makes a lot of sense based on what we're seeing here. Those are your arrival times for your local communities up in Wilkes County. Now, let me look quickly at this other storm over in Hayes because that too has a similar appearance, and it does indeed look like that storm is rotating as well. Not what we would like to see, but it is the truth of the matter here. I'm seeing two areas of rotation. One with the storm that has the warning on it, and another one over here. This is not quite as tight, but it is a concern. So I'm going to be watching both of these behind the scenes while we track this for you. So if you're anywhere in Wilkes County, here's a rule of thumb. If you're in Wilkes County, north of Highway 421, there are two spots that are rotating right now. We have a tornado warning until 2 o'clock for one of them, but I would be taking a safe spot if I'm in Hayes as well, even if I'm up along Highway 18, because it's a similar looking storm and it could have a similar impact if it gets just a little bit stronger. So I'm sure the Weather Service is looking at the same things that I am. Again, we don't issue tornado warnings here at News 2. We are the communicators. We pass it along to you, but that is a National Weather Service job. And you can see 2 storms spinning now in Wilkes County. If you're in Surrey County, you're relatively okay. Similar situation in Yadkin, although we'll keep an eye on all those showers. If you're in Winston-Salem, it's about to pour on you. Similar story in Guilford County. Pouring rain right now, but thankfully we are not seeing much of any rotation, and that's good news. That could change later on tonight, but as of now, nothing to be concerned about. Similar story in Burlington, where heavy rain is just about to head your way. It's moving through central Alamance right now, all moving to the north. Remember, this is all because of that tropical system, and that is why we have the weird movement and the weird direction, because the storm is off to the west and we're getting these outer bands. The problem for later tonight is going to be this. This is what I would kind of call a mega band of sorts. Usually with a tropical system, there's one band that looks the strongest. This one looks the strongest to me, and that is headed our way. That's why they issued that tornado watch up until 7 o'clock tonight. That's going to be moving closer to the Piedmont, really right around sunset or even a little bit after that. So we'll keep a close eye on that later on. But in the here and now, we're all focused on Wilkes County, where that tornado warning does continue until 2 o'clock. And as I was mentioning, there are 2 areas I'm concerned about. One that has the warning near Rhonda, just past Rhonda now, moving toward Trap Hill, and another one near Hayes, right along Highway 18. So any of those areas, be careful, be cautious, and be safe. Always best to get to a low level of your home. If you're not in a sturdy structure, if you have time to get to a friend's that's right close by, do it. If not, do the best you can. Surround yourself by sturdy objects. Sometimes the bathroom is your best bet. Maybe it's a closet. Those are your good options. That's what I would be doing if I were you. Christian Morgan's been tracking this for a long while here. You've been tracking all these storms, Christian, and I believe you've probably been in better touch than I have with the latest National Weather Service chat and maybe even some tweets and information on Facebook. What are you seeing? What can you add to the conversation here as we continue to track this tornado?
Yeah, so let me reset here just a couple minutes and show you the only warning that we have right now in our viewing area is this tornado warning for Wilkes County. But like Tim mentioned, there are 2 areas of rotation, 2 areas that we're watching. Only one of them has a tornado warning on it right now. There's also some storms moving north into Guilford County right now. So High Point getting some torrential rain, as well as Archdale, as well as Trinity. Greensboro, you're going to be up in the next few minutes, as well as Summerfield and as well as McLeansville. Winston-Salem, you're about to get in on some heavy rain and some gusty winds as well. So only one tornado warning that we're watching at the moment. This is for Wilkes County. It does continue until about 2 o'clock. The time right now is 1:28. You're watching WFMY News 2 as we continue our coverage of this tornado warning. Now let me zoom back in and show you the 2 storms that Tim was talking about. Haven't seen any reports of damage in these areas yet from the National Weather Service. I'm continuing to keep eyes on our chat here with the folks there and see if they're mentioning anything. At this point, it doesn't look like that. And they haven't even, not that I've seen, haven't mentioned the second area of rotation, but nonetheless, I'm sure that they're looking at this. So 2 storms really that we're watching. Here's the one cell that's tornado warned in Wilkes County right now, and the other one just around the Hayes community, moving right along Highway 18. That one is rotating too, but there's no tornado warning on it at the moment. You see this, if we zoom out on a wider view, you see these reds and greens mixing here? That's the tornado warning that's been issued right now. This one doesn't have a tornado warning on it yet, but if this continues to stay pretty tight, or if it strengthens up any, I'm sure the National Weather Service will extend this warning over or issue a new one. So I'm going to zoom in closer to the one that we have warned right now. So if you're in Lomax, if you're in Benham, if you're up in Trap Hill, you're all under the gun from this storm at the moment. Still rotating. You still see these reds and greens still mixing pretty good. It's broadened out just a little bit, but still it's a very strong area of rotation. So if you're in Lomax, you're in Benham, you're in Trap Hill, or even up in Dalton, you're in your safe spot now. You're in your safe spot. And if you have family and friends in that area, again, I reiterate the fact that you need to call them now and let them know that they have a tornado warning and that there's a storm that could be producing a tornado in their neighborhood. Make sure they get to their safe spot. I also want to go over here a little bit and investigate this storm in Hayes. So this is right along Highway 18. Here's Hayes here, here's DeHart here, and here's Halls Mills right along Highway 18. And this is that area of rotation, just kind of to the west of Hayes, in between Highway 18 and the community of Hayes there. Not too many roads for us to call out in these areas. It's kind of a rural area as well. But if you have family and friends in this area, let them know that this is still a strong storm and this is spinning. So what I'm going to draw on here for you, just so you can kind of see this in an easier way. There's 2 areas of rotation that we're watching. This one here has the tornado warning on it, and this one near Hayes, right to the east of Highway 18, doesn't have a warning on it as well, but keeping a close eye on these two areas of rotation. I'm going to check in real fast again with our folks here at the National Weather Service and see if they're mentioning anything else about this. At this moment, they're not. They're still talking about the tornado warning there that moved through the Rhonda community. So what I'm going to do at the moment, let me zoom out here and show you, kind of sound the all clear for some folks. So again, if you're in Wilkesboro, if you're in North Wilkesboro, this warning does not include you, okay? This warning does not include you. If you're in Newcastle, this storm ripped through there not too long ago, but you're in the clear now. If you're in Clingman, you're in the clear now. Rhonda, I know you're still included in this tornado warning, but the storm is now past you just to the north, so you're all clear. So really, if you're right along, this is going to be Highway 268 here. So if you're north of Highway 268 and if you're north of Highway 421, you are still watching, but north of Highway 268, that's where that tornado warning still continues. If you're south of Highway 268, that's what I was trying to say. If you're in Rhonda, Clingman, Delaplane, you're all in the clear now. The storm is past you, even though that tornado warning does continue for those areas. I would expect the National Weather Service to trend this back over the next few minutes. Again, this is really not changing a whole lot. It hasn't really strengthened up. It hasn't gotten tighter, hasn't really weakened down over the last several minutes, but this was at one point a confirmed tornado on the ground down in Iredell County. We had confirmed video and pictures of that. It continued on the ground all the way up into Wilkes County as well, and we saw strong indications that there was some debris being lofted into the air with our debris detection here. So like Tim mentioned, this is a relatively new product that we can use to kind of differentiate between raindrops and debris that may be being lifted up into the air by any tornadoes that are on the ground. And you still see kind of this discoloration a bit. It's a little suspect because it's on the edge of this scan, but still with a confirmed report of a tornado earlier, this still could be some debris that's being lofted into the air by what I'm seeing is a strong sign of rotation. And just as I say that, you see the red and the green kind of getting closer here and starting to mix into each other. That still shows me that there's still tight rotation right in this area, just kind of to the southeast of Lomax. So again, let me zoom out on a wider view, kind of reset here. If you're in Lomax, if you're in Trap Hill, you're in your safe spot now. This is moving off to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. Of course, the general rotation, the general motion in these storms is north and west, just because this is all, of course, from Tropical Depression Fred, which is off to our west, moving right over the spine of the Appalachians as we go throughout the day. And we're on the eastern side of this. Of course, tropical systems and any kind of low pressure spins counterclockwise. So that would bring all of our rain and all of our storms in from the northwest, already having that spinning motion. So it's a whole lot easier for those to quickly spin up and quickly form tornadoes. So that's what we're going to be watching as we go throughout the afternoon and through the evening as well. And I think, Control Room, I think we have a picture from Elkin. We can pop that up here and just show that. So this is that tornado warned storm. This is from Peter Forrester. This is that tornado on the ground. This was as of just a couple minutes ago, about 10 minutes ago at 1:23. And you can see that tornado. You can see that funnel cloud. Looks like it is touching the ground. So it looks like a confirmed report that that tornado is still on the ground in Wilkes County, just west of Elkin as of about 10 minutes ago. So it would make sense that that warning does continue for the next little while. At least goes until 2 o'clock unless it broadens out or weakens down. Also new, want to mention this to you, these areas have also now been included in that tornado watch until 7 p.m. So that does include Surry County, includes Stokes County, Rockingham County, Guilford County, Forsyth County, Yadkin County, and of course Wilkes County. Even carries back into the corner of Watauga County up into the mountains as well. And I had some folks reaching out to me a couple minutes ago to ask questions about the fact that they have students and they have children that are up at App State going to school. Again, right now there's no warnings in the mountains right now. Just to let you know that there's no warnings, and it's actually not even raining in Boone at this moment. But of course, over the next few hours, that's something that is a possibility with these storms and with this rain that's moving through. I want to zoom out here on a wider view and kind of show you what we're talking about. I think Tim might have mentioned it earlier, but as Fred moves by tonight, there's really kind of one mega band that we call it, and that's this one here now that's kind of moving out of Georgia into the upstate of South Carolina and into Tennessee. This has repeatedly produced tornado warnings over the last several hours, from this morning through lunchtime and up until now. And you see tons of lightning with this, tons of strong thunderstorms, torrential rain in this, and this will be kind of that big band that we watch through about 7 and 8 o'clock tonight that will have, again, the best chance to produce a spin-up tornado. So we'll be watching that closely, and that's why that tornado watch does extend until 7 o'clock tonight. So we'll keep eyes on that. But obviously we see that tornado watch coming in handy here, as we've seen several tornado warnings in the foothills so far. And again, only one tornado warning that we are watching at the moment in our viewing area. And of course, that is for Wilkes County, and still keeping an eye on this storm over in Hayes as well. So this is the storm right now that, again, does have the warning on it. Trap Hill, Lomax, you're in the gun, under the gun for this, so be in your safe spot now. Not a warning on this, just to the east of Highway 18 near Hayes, but it is still rotating a bit, so I'm going to keep eyes on that. Let me toss it back over to Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley for the moment.
Thanks, Chris. You know, we're tracking this, and it's not a total surprise if you watched us yesterday. We were mentioning how Fred, this tropical system moving into our area, can often cause tropical storm-related tornadoes. And we only worry about that when the storm passes well to our west. And when I say that, I mean the storm center. That storm center is near Atlanta, Georgia. And what we are on the wrong side. It's the right-hand side. We have this flow coming out of the south and east, and those storms are already moving in this direction. So all it takes is a little bit of a new direction to cause it to spin counterclockwise. And that's how you get tornadoes to form. If you notice, there's nothing like that going on the western side of the system. On the left-hand side, you often have sunshine and really a sharp cutoff in rainfall. So we're on the short end of the stick here. We're going to get more in the way of rainfall, and we do have that severe weather threat that we have to watch and worry about really through the late evening and even a little bit into the overnight hours. But business at hand right now is that tornado warning in Wilkes County. I will mention this is one band moving through. A lot of us are going to get heavy rainfall quite shortly. There's another band in South Carolina that we'll worry about later on this evening. Zooming in a little bit more, if you're in Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Yadkin County, over to Burlington as well. Heavy rain is happening. No severe weather concern as of now, but you should be on the lookout for ponding of water and maybe some flooding concerns also. Here's the tornado warning, which does continue for about another 20 minutes here until 2 o'clock now. Wilkes County is under the gun. Trap Hill, want you to be in your safe spot. If you have a safe location, you have to get to it right now. This is Trap Hill in Wilkes County. We're on the northern edge of the county, so for reference, Yadkin is down here. Yadkin, you're in the clear with this one. It's all to the north and to the west of you. At one point, this storm included Yadkin County. That's not the case anymore. It's just Wilkes. We may see this warning extended, though, up into Allegheny County. If it holds together, that warning could be extended into Allegheny County and get up closer to Sparta. But it has to make it over the mountains before it would do that. So that's a question mark as of right now. In any case, that's your tornado warning for Trap Hill. Let's go a little bit closer. If we zoom in even more, you can see Austin, Lomax. Those are some smaller communities right in the center of this storm right now. It's called radar indicated at the moment, but still, we've had several folks showing us pictures of tornadoes on the ground this afternoon. Funnel clouds, an actual tornado, those type of things have been spotted with this storm. And so it has that history, not just of putting down funnels, but also potentially causing some of that damage too when it moved through Iredell County earlier and then Yadkin. Now remember, there was another storm in Wilkes County earlier on, closer to Moravian Falls. This is a different one. And it is moving through Lomax and Austin right now, closer to Trap Hill in just about 5 to 10 minutes. Your time to get into shelter is short. You got to do it right now. There's your rotation. You can see it right here. That's going this way. This is going that way. It's the counterclockwise motion that we worry about with storms like this one. And I do want to call your attention to a storm just to the west of it. We're still in Wilkes County. This is near Hayes, and we're seeing a little bit of that movement as well. A little bit of that spinning going on. Only one tornado warning, but there's two that are a little concerning as far as my eye can tell. Right now, we do have tornado watches for a good chunk of the Carolinas. That includes us here in the Triad. This is until 7 o'clock. We might even see another one issued later on this evening. We're going to reset a little bit here and re-rack my graphics here. Let me drop that off. Bear with me. So here's your severe weather outlook. Going into the rest of the evening, all of us in yellow have that risk of a couple tornadoes popping up as we go throughout the evening. That's because of the location we are to the tropical system. So that is something we have to keep an eye on. They're usually not strong tornadoes. We'll put that out there. Not every tornado is created equally, right? A lot of them can be weaker. Some of them can be much stronger. Usually with tropical systems, they're quick, they're short-lived, and they are usually on the range of an EF0 to an EF1. We don't know that for sure with this one, but that's just the track record that tropical systems tend to have. We'll watch this band very closely moving through South Carolina right now. That's coming our way later on tonight, but this storm continues now for Wilkes County. It's north of Wilkesboro. Don't worry if you're in Wilkesboro, but it is moving through Trap Hill right now and really close to Highway 21. So you take this roadway to get up to Stone Mountain State Park. that is where this storm is moving through at this time. So a lot of folks use that park in the summertime to camp, to hike, to enjoy nature, get outside. This is bearing down in that Stone Mountain area at the moment. In fact, I'm going to step out of the way just so I can zoom in a little bit closer to see just how close it might be to the state park at this time, because that's a big area that a lot of people go this time of year. Excuse my zooms there, a little bit too fast, as we could say. Let's go a little bit farther out. There we go. So we're in Trap Hill. This is Trap Hill Road, Long Bottom Road as well, near Joins. This is just kind of zooming more than I would like at the moment. Let me refresh. So there's that storm right near Austin, right north of Lomax now. And Austin Trap Hill Road, this is where that cell is spinning right now. Near Trap Hill Road itself, we also have Trap Hill Mill Road, and then north of that, Long Bottom Road is what's being impacted. I'm going to flip off the radar just a second so we can see the satellite view, because that can give us some clues as to exactly where it is. It does look like it's right in this Stone Mountain State Park area. So that's where that storm is bearing down at the moment. The other cell to the west looks a little weaker at the time, and that's going to move into Allegheny County very, very shortly. So if you are in Sparta, if you are in Allegheny County, keep an eye on this, because this warning could be extended to include your area very soon. Christian, what else are you seeing at the time? I'm going to reset over here and let you take it for a couple more minutes.
Yeah, let's reset here just a minute and kind of show you what we're looking at. Sorry, I've had to shed the jacket. I'm sweating in here. So we have this line, really kind of this outer band of Fred that's kind of been developing across the triad. So we still have heavy rain in Greensboro and Winston-Salem, also in Burlington and Graham as well. And if I show you our Burlington sky camera, it's really quite an impressive look. So it's raining really, really hard. It was raining sideways just a couple moments ago, and now this is kind of relaxed as I'm trying to show it to you. But raining sideways a couple moments ago with these flags whipping around. There's easily some 30-mile-per-hour gusts, maybe 30 to 40-mile-per-hour gusts with these storms across the triad right now, but of course nothing severe at the moment. We will keep eyes on these as they do have the potential to start spinning over the next little while. Let me zoom back in here, of course, to our folks in Wilkes County where that tornado warning does continue. And if you'll bear with me just a second, I do have a couple things I want to pass along. From Wilkes County Emergency Management, they are reporting some trees down along the Poplar Springs Road, that's up in Roaring River, and also along Mountain View Road in the Mulberry area as well. So again, that's from Wilkes County Emergency Management. There are trees down in the Poplar Springs Road area in Roaring River, and also along Mountain View Road in the Mulberry area as well. So make sure you avoid these areas. Find a different route if you have to drive over the next several hours. But of course, do not venture out while this storm is still tracking through the county. But I did want to pass that along. So really kind of two cells that we're watching. There's only one at the moment that has a tornado warning on it. There's another one just to the west of that. This is just north of the Hayes community that is still rotating. It is showing signs of spinning, but at the moment that does not have a tornado warning on it. And I'll be honest with you, over the last 30 minutes to an hour, this really hasn't let up at all. You still see these greens and these reds mixing. They haven't really brightened up. They haven't gotten any weaker. But again, this has been a confirmed tornado with this storm on the ground since it left Iredell County over an hour ago, moving through Wilkes County. And now it's just kind of north of Highway 168 here. North of Rhonda, you're not included in this anymore. Wilkesboro, you're in the clear. North Wilkesboro, you're in the clear. Newcastle, this is well past you. But if you're still in Lomax, if you're still in these small communities of Trap Hill as well, this storm is still, you're still under the gun for this storm that's moving off to the north and off to the northwest. Real quick check on this storm over here near Hayes, right along Highway 18. Again, not a tornado warning on this, but it still shows a pretty strong indication that there is some rotation in that storm as well. So let me zoom in here a little bit closer to you. Not too many roads to call out. These are some smaller communities, but they've just trimmed this warning up a bit. So if you're in Lomax, you're still included in this. The small community of Austin and Trap Hill, this area of rotation that could be producing a tornado still on the ground, is heading toward you over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Again, zoom out and show you this is what we're going to be doing all afternoon and all evening long. And I'll be honest, we may be breaking into programming more than once through the evening hours and through your dinner time, but it's all just in an effort to keep you safe. And this is the kind of setup that we have. Of course, these outer bands of Fred, still an outer tropical depression, so it doesn't have that strong of winds with it, but these outer bands, just because of that general motion, that general rotation of the tropical depression, could eventually cause some quick spin ups yet again. So there's a new tornado warning down in South Carolina. Of course, with this outer band that we've been talking about, as we go into 7 and 8 o'clock tonight, this is kind of what we're calling one of those mega bands, or one of the strongest bands with Fred. It has been producing several tornado warnings this morning and through the early afternoon in Georgia and now into the upstate of South Carolina. And as that pushes through, that's why that tornado warning has been extended until 7 o'clock tonight for our area. So let me go back to that and just show you, if you've just joined us. Earlier, there was only the tornado watch that included the southwestern corner of North Carolina, but now there's a new tornado watch that includes the northwest corner of our viewing area. So that would be Rockingham County, Stokes County, Surry County, Guilford, Forsyth, Yadkin, and of course Wilkes County as well, where we have that ongoing tornado warning. This goes until 7 o'clock, but if this kind of activity keeps up as that mega band really approaches us later this evening and through the dinner time hour, I wouldn't be shocked to see this extended into some more of our counties, or maybe drawn out a little bigger. So of course we'll keep eyes on that. Wide view at what we have going on. Of course, as we mentioned earlier this morning on the Good Morning Show, likely seeing this radar filling in a bit more as we go into the afternoon. Most all of us are going to get in on some rain at some point today, and you see that outer band that's kind of developed over the triad from Wilkes County to Yadkin County, Forsyth County, Guilford County, and on into Alamance County, over into Orange County as well. Nothing severe in this at the moment. Nothing with a warning on it, no severe thunderstorm warning, no tornado warning on this line. But there's torrential rain in Winston-Salem, especially in High Point and Greensboro in the next few minutes. Summerfield, you're going to be up in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. McLeansville for you folks as well. And then on up into Elkin and Eden and Reedsville as you go further to the north and west. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. I will tell you, even though there's nothing really spinning or causing concern in this, there's absolutely some gusty winds, 30 to 40 miles per hour that I've seen so far on the radar. And again, we'll keep track. This tornado warning does continue for about the next 15 minutes for Wilkes County for this area rotation that still looks pretty concerning to me. Tim, are you seeing anything different? Have you seen any reports of damage from our folks at the National Weather Service?
Christian, I'm still trying to confirm anything like that. A lot of what we've been getting so far have been those reports from Twitter and those pictures as well from social media. This storm in Trap Hill, we've seen evidence multiple times of different reports of the storm on the ground, of the storm causing some minor damage at times, but it might be more than that. We really don't know much at the moment, but we have shown you at times some of those photos from our people on social media. Riley Alden and Ryan Holgerson sent us some good photos of that storm rolling on in. Now, I will be clear, this storm is about to move out at Wilkes County. So it's in Trap Hill right now. It's right up along the border. So at this time, the Weather Service is going to have to decide if they're going to issue another one for Allegheny County. I think they probably will. This is going to be closing in on Cherry Lane pretty shortly. There's still enough rotation here that you might be a little concerned. And whenever we're showing you this, you probably know by now because we get this a lot, but this is that rotation area. So we have winds going this way and then winds going that way. So this is right in the area we've been showing you the whole time. That's what we're concerned about. I'm going to pop on some storm markers, see if we have any reports of damage. We have those funnel cloud reports and those touchdown reports earlier, but no damage reports so far. And I hope that continues because that would be something of a good news. All right. New information just coming into our system. Folks, we're going to have to extend this with you, and we're going to be on your TV screen a long while. This is up until 2:30 now, so we're going to go until 2:30 at this time. This is for Allegheny County and for Wilkes. So what this is going to do, it's going to take away that other warning on your screen. We're not going to have this other one. That's going to be dropped, and it's replaced by this. So might look a little confusing for a few minutes, but it should take care of itself very shortly. This is new, so this tornado warning now includes Cherry Lane, it includes Sparta, and really all of the eastern half of Allegheny County. Now this is pretty unusual. I say that because Allegheny County, out of anyone in our area, it's the most rare for somewhere like Allegheny County to get a tornado warning. It just doesn't happen in the mountains that often. But there's nothing magical about mountains that makes it impossible for them to get tornadoes. It does happen, and it can happen, and it might be happening right now. The good news is that other part of the storm does look like it has stopped rotating. I'm going to stop clicking so you don't get dizzy, and I'm going to walk over to the screen and point some stuff out. But this is a new tornado warning, including another county. So we have it for Wilkes. We also have it for Allegheny County. This is in western North Carolina from the foothills into the Blue Ridge Mountains. And really, it's part of a larger band almost that is formed now. So you see it all the way from Alamance County in the east all the way over to Wilkes County in the west. Here's your tornado warning as we zoom in, and I can point this out on the big screen, folks, if you want to take me over here on the ham. We're near Trap Hill. You can see that storm zooming in, moving closer to Cherry Lane any time now. So Cherry Lane, you're going to be just about 5 minutes or so away from this. So here's Trap Hill, there's Cherry Lane, right along US 21, the main highway to get up the mountain and get closer to Sparta. That's where we are. This is where that is spinning, and it's right about to kind of climb the elevation. It's going across the Blue Ridge Parkway pretty shortly. So that's where we're talking about. This is really on the western fringe of our News 2 viewing area here in the Triad. It will be moving farther north from there, going right through Cherry Lane eventually. And Sparta, you're on the edge of this. So definitely pay attention, especially if you're on the eastern side of the Sparta community. This is Highway 88 for reference. If it holds together, it'll cross that probably in about 30 or so minutes, and then the Virginia border is next up. So Highway 21, Highway 88, a lot of forest in between, the Blue Ridge Parkway up next as well. This storm is in Trap Hill at the moment and bearing down. If we zoom in a little bit closer, here's Downton. You're not in the path of this storm. Austin, you're in the clear now. Trap Hill, it's just moving north of you. And there aren't very many towns here to speak of, to be honest. So we're right on that border at the moment of Wilkes County and Allegheny County. Some rotation, not as strong as it was before. If I had to bet, I'd say it's probably going to face some tougher conditions now. And the reason for that is the elevation can disrupt the wind flow a little bit when it comes to storms, but they can still happen in the mountains. That is a common myth, that you just can't get tornadoes in the mountains. You can, it's just harder for that to happen, but that could happen today as well. Tornado watch includes all of our area for the most part, up until 7 o'clock. Guilford County included, Forsyth County included, and Rockingham. But serious situation does continue in Wilkes County. If you have friends and family in this area, they got to take shelter up until 2:30. That warning continues until 2:30 this afternoon. Radar indicated, we haven't seen a confirmation on this in a little while, but earlier, yes indeed, there has been a tornado on the ground with this system. We have those photos. I'm not sure if we still have them pulled up, but we could show that to you again sometime shortly. The storm produced some pretty impressive clouds and probably some damage along that line as well. This photo here, let's leave this up for a little bit. This is from Peter Forrester. So he's a storm chaser, and he sends us some good photos all the time across Virginia and North Carolina. This was from some different chasers there, and you can see we're looking at kind of a rural area, but if you look closely, you see that vertical nature of the cloud. That is a funnel cloud, and when a funnel cloud touches the ground, well, it's a full-fledged tornado, and that's what we're seeing right now in that area. So, you know, that was not too long ago, right around 1:23 this afternoon. It's west of Elkin, so Elkin, of course, is located in Yadkin County, but this storm, right to the west of it, over in Wilkes, pretty darn impressive, and that's what we saw earlier today. This storm right now continues north of Trap Hill. I'm going to put some tracks on it for you so we can give you some estimates. I'm actually going to do a little bit more than that, so I'm going to zoom out some more. And apologies for, you know, if this is always a little casual. We're on the fly here. We're always getting this information new, and we want to get you the right stuff. So sometimes it looks a little less polished than our normal daily weathercast, and that's okay. We're interested in accuracy here. Cherry Lane, 2 p.m., 2:06 for Glade Valley. So if you're in Cherry Lane, you have about no time. You have to get in a safe spot right now, away from windows, lowest level. Those are going to be your best bets to keep yourself safe. Glade Valley, you would be up next, 5 minutes after that. Sparta, it's moving toward you. That would be at about 2:15. The storm is not moving terribly quickly. It's moving at about 25 miles per hour. But even so, it's not that far. So about 2:15 is when you would have to get to your safe spot and get into out of harm's way. Baywood about 2:27, and at that time we're going into southern Virginia, so we would be leaving coverage at that point because that's not our area. But we are looking at that storm passing right over into Allegheny right now, so Wilkes County, you're pretty much done with this, but it is going to continue into Allegheny. Kind of unusual, as we said, to see these storms moving up in this area, but that's what we're dealing with right now, okay? We're looking at other storms moving through, and I'm getting a couple of questions on Twitter and social media about, hey, what about the storms in my house? We have a lot of storms moving over Wilkes County, moving over Greensboro. I should say, Forsyth County, Guilford County. What about those storms? Are they rotating? At the moment, not really all that much. We have very heavy rainfall pushing through Guilford County, and we can probably see this on our Greensboro sky camera, actually, if I take that quickly. Just moved through the city. You can see the buildings are a little damp at the moment. These storms packing a lot of rainfall, but not packing a lot in the way of rotation. We can give you a look at that heaviest band that just pushed through many of the Triad cities, and there are some little motions of spinning going on, but really not all that much. Very, very subtle. Very, very subtle. So not enough that would really concern us at the moment. But just a heads up, if you're in Reedsville, if you're in Stokes County, you're about to get soaked very shortly. Same would go for Surrey. But the good news is that we're not seeing any problem areas of rotation, except for this one spot here that's now moving into Allegheny County. Not far from Roaring Gap. We're just past Stone Mountain State Park. We're into Allegheny County now. That warning continues. I do think it's weakened, though. Christian, let me know if you agree. I'm always interested in your opinion. We'll get back to Christian in a minute, but we are thinking that this is weakening a little bit here as it moves up into those areas. So it's not as strong as it once was. Not as strong as it once was, but still strong enough to put down a tornado warning. We are looking at Tropical Depression Fred. That's the culprit for all of this. This is happening because of the tropical system. That is why this is going on, and we have Fred moving a little bit farther to the north time to time. We're looking near Atlanta, Georgia now, and this storm still spinning, packing a bit of a punch with 35-mile-per-hour winds. But in the Triad, we're really not going to be all that windy unless you get one of these stronger storms that can produce a tornado. So these might be a little gusty, but otherwise it's mostly just rain, except for these storms that are getting tornado warned. Heavy rain pushing through Greensboro, Winston-Salem. There's your tornado warning, pretty much just for Allegheny County at the moment. The storm is out of Wilkes, so they haven't canceled it yet, but I'm just here to let you know. Wilkes County, you're in the clear from this storm. It is now just an Allegheny County concern, and that'll get off of here in about 2 o'clock once that old one goes away. So Cherry Lane, Roaring Gap, you're still in the thick of it here. There is some rotation. It's not as strong as it once was, but a possible tornado could be moving into your community. This is up that way. A little bit closer, Highway 29, US 21, I should say, not 29, 21. That's the road that we're looking at. Right by Roaring Gap, right by Cherry Lane, and right across the Blue Ridge Mountain. So it's right over that Blue Ridge Parkway area, something you don't think of a lot. Tornadoes and the Blue Ridge Parkway, but that's what's going on at the moment. Rotation is not all that strong. I'll reset my graphic in just a second so you can see that a little bit better. But Christian, tell me what you're thinking at this time. It doesn't look like it's getting any stronger, we can put it that way, and it does look like it might be weakening a touch.
Yeah, it looks the same to me too, Tim. I've been continuing to watch that, but also kind of keeping an eye on everything else that's happening across the Triad. At the same time, I don't know if you can get this or not, but I'm trying to get my hands on some video from the Clingman and Rhonda area up in Wilkes County earlier. There's apparently a video surfacing on social media that is of that confirmed tornado on the ground, so I'm going to try to get my hands on that over the next few minutes so we can pass that along to you. But same kind of thing like Tim has been mentioning here. I haven't really seen this strengthening up at all. It does look like it is kind of weakening down a bit. And Tim mentioned this earlier. Of course, this is not all that common that we see tornadoes and rotation up in the mountains and up in the Blue Ridge into these higher elevations. And it's probably weakening down a bit because it is running into some of that higher terrain. And like Tim mentioned, the mountains can usually kind of chop up some of that. So that may be what's happening here, but this is absolutely not as strong as it was a few minutes ago. This area of rotation, of course, that we're watching right along Highway 21 as you go up into Sparta, Cherry Lane, you're still included in this tornado warning. And I know that this looks a little bit confusing right now, but I expect some of this down in Wilkes County to be trimmed and be moved off of our screen. And I think we do have that video, or do have a video from Wilkes County if we can pull that up here in just a couple minutes. And there you go. This was of that tornado, of course, right along that Wilkes County and Iredell County line that we were talking about. And that's where we first initially saw that report of the confirmed tornado. And again, we've been seeing this same storm produce confirmed tornado on the ground ever since it left Iredell County up through Wilkes County as it moved by the Newcastle area. And now we're moving on up into the extreme north corner of Wilkes County. So this is really out of Wilkes County at this point, becoming an Allegheny County storm. But you see, we've seen some really impressive video, some impressive pictures, and this one, of course, coming from Mr. Dustin over there in the Wilkes County and Iredell County line of that funnel cloud that was producing a tornado on the ground. So We also just got a brand new scan here of this storm, and you can see that that rotation is even weakened down a little bit more. It's kind of getting chopped up. You don't see as bright red, you don't see as much bright green, and you don't really see them mixing too much anymore. So this is moving north, kind of has that northwest motion to it right along Highway 21, and it's likely getting chopped up by the mountains. Nonetheless, this tornado warning does still go for about the next 30 minutes until about 2:30. So as long as this tornado warning is on screen and is on our area, we'll be watching it for you and we'll be tracking it for you. But the good news is that this is showing signs of weakening and likely kind of getting chopped up a bit. The other thing I want to mention to you, while we've been on the air over the last hour or so, what we've noticed is we had some of these little downpours that kind of popped up, and now they're developing into this line or this outer band of Fred, if you will. So while nothing is severe right now in Forsyth County or Guilford County or Alamance County, there's some torrential rain in this band, and there's also some gusty winds in this as well. I've seen some 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. Of course, radar indicated. We've also seen our flags kind of blowing around in the wind there on our Burlington sky camera as well. So all of this line moving north right now. So Surrey County, you're under the gun for some torrential rain and gusty winds. Stokes County, Meadows, King, you're going to be under the gun in the next few minutes. Also Rockingham County, Reedsville, Eden, you're going to be under the gun for some heavy rain and gusty winds as well. And of course, this is going to move north out of Alamance County up into Caswell County as well over the next 10 to 15 minutes. At this point, the only warning we have on the screen, of course, is for Wilkes County and Allegheny County, but this storm is really out of Wilkes County now. So let me kind of sound the all clear for some folks as we zoom back in here. And again, bear with me. I know we're driving this radar all around crazy, but it's just to get you the best information. So if you're in Trap Hill and if you're in the Rhonda area, basically, if you're anywhere in Wilkes County, this storm is out of your area now. You are in the all clear, even though this tornado warning does still include you. The National Weather Service, they are human and they can only work so fast. So they're probably keeping an eye on this storm, but the storm is leaving Wilkes County. So this is really an Allegheny County issue at the moment. So the worst of the storm, the heaviest rain, the strongest winds in that area of rotation, sitting right over Highway 21 right now, in between Cherry Lane and up into Sparta as well. And let me flip back over here to our velocity map just to show you what we're looking at. And honestly, the way I see it over the last few scans, this has really been weakening down. That's good news. And this, there's a possibility there's no longer a tornado on the ground, but we do have confirmed reports this was on the ground for quite a while. Right along Highway 21, you see those reds and those greens, and just as I say that, you start to see it kind of mix back together a little bit. Nonetheless, it may not strengthen back up, but it's something we'll keep an eye on. This warning, again, does continue until 2:30, and until this expires, we'll be on your TV. Over the next few minutes or so, maybe by 2:30, this will be out of North Carolina. This will be moving into Southwest Virginia, and at that point we'll return to regular programming. But again, as long as it's in our area, we will keep an eye on it. So again, Trap Hill, Rhonda, anywhere in Wilkes County, you are in the clear. If you're still in your safe spot, you can come out, but do it carefully, especially if you're in those areas where that storm moved by. Make sure you have shoes on, make sure you're wearing goggles, because if anything has fallen to the ground or you have any damage in your home, you're not going to want to walk over that with bare feet. So be extra careful. But again, if you're in Wilkes County, you can kind of come out of your safe spot now and kind of assess things around your home to see if you have any damage as well. And we will likely, again, have some damage reports coming in over the next few minutes. Now, I passed this along earlier, but bear with me. I want to come back to it just if you're in the in these areas. Confirmed by the emergency management up in Wilkes County, it seems that there are some trees down right along the Poplar Springs Road area, that's in Roaring River, and also along Mountain View Road in the Mulberry area as well. So if you're in those areas, there are some trees down. If you have to drive in those areas later, you might want to find an alternate route to kind of go around that until crews have a chance to clean that up and kind of assess the damage there. But again, still keeping an eye on this, still watching the new scans coming in. It definitely is not as strong as it was. There's likely not a tornado on the ground anymore with this, the way it looks chopped up to me. Tim, you can reassess here in a couple minutes and tell me what you think, but it just doesn't look all that impressive to me anymore. But I think the National Weather Service is just going to play it safe, play with caution, err on the side of caution, and just continue this for the next few minutes just to see if this thing continues to weaken or strengthen back up. And we'll keep an eye on that for you. Again, that tornado watch for our area, the northwestern corner, this includes, of course, Surrey County, Wilkes County, Yadkin, Stokes, Forsyth, Guilford, and Rockingham County as well. That goes until 7 o'clock tonight as we wait on that that last big band of Fred to move through. So we'll watch that closely through about 7 or 8 o'clock tonight, just on the chance we may get a couple more tornado warnings. That big mega band I'm talking about, it's now through Georgia and in the upstate of South Carolina. Of course, that's the whole issue today. It's Fred, now a tropical depression, but still that spinning motion. You see the center, it's just in North Georgia right now, kind of crossing over the Tennessee border over the next little bit. That general spinning motion, anytime you have a tropical system like this, you're going to have to be on guard for that low chance of a tornado. So as this big mega band in the upstate of South Carolina moves through the dinner time hour on into tonight. We'll be watching that. That has the history of producing several tornado warnings and some severe thunderstorm warnings in Georgia and South Carolina. So that's what we'll be watching closely. And again, at any point, one of these could pop up and spin up a quick tornado. Tim, what are you seeing? Are you seeing anything different?
Same thing, Christian. I mean, we're still watching that same threat with that particular storm, and you covered that really, really well. But a lot of folks watching at the moment probably not in that immediate area. And a lot of the questions I'm getting is, how long is this threat going to continue? Is it just the next few hours? And I'd love to tell you that's the case, but unfortunately, I don't really think we can sound the all clear until we get farther down the road, even into the overnight hours. And I'll tell you why. We have this one band moving through our area right now, but there are new storms popping up near Charlotte. That's going to be a concern through the early evening. And we also have the main band of this storm system all the way back into South Carolina. That might not clear our area until well after midnight tonight. So I want you to make sure you have plenty of time now. Make sure all your emergency alerts are turned on your phone. If you have a weather radio, make sure it's plugged in, fired up, ready to go. If you need to be awoken by those alerts, you've got to make sure you can rely on that. So plenty of time to prepare. It's 2 in the afternoon. You got all that time before you go to bed tonight to make sure those alerts are fired up, ready to go. Have the News 2 app downloaded, the News 2 radar app, the News 2 app itself. All of those will help protect you, but make sure, especially if you have an iPhone or something like that, go to your settings, go to notifications, make sure emergency alerts are turned on, including tornado warnings. And it'll buzz, it'll wake you up, and it could save you and your family's life, because this tornado threat does continue into the overnight hours tonight. We're going to stay until it's over with. You know, we're here, we're staffed up, we're going to be ready to go to make sure you and your family can be safe. But it's not going to be a short system. It's kind of a long game that we're playing, probably into the early morning hours for tonight. This warning continues for Allegheny County, Wilkes County. Don't worry about a thing. This is just Allegheny County right now, and the storm itself is really just crossed over, I should say, Highway 21. It does continue to look like it will not move through downtown Sparta. This warning continues until 2:30, but it appears it's picking up some speed. It's going to cross into Virginia before 2:30. So if we're looking closer, Cherry Lane, you've just seen this storm push through. Glade Valley is up right now, and then farther up the road, you've got to be in your safe spot as well. If you're anywhere in eastern Allegheny County, get to that safe location. But the good news, while you're in your safe spot, I'll tell you this, and you can take us in there on your phone as well. We're live streaming on our Facebook page, on WFMYnews2.com. You can watch us on your phone. Take us with you as you get yourself safe. You don't have to abandon your television. We're there with you nowadays. That's what we like about technology. This storm is not rotating, though, as strong as it was before. There is still rotation, don't get me wrong, but there's not as much as there was. It's a little weaker. And that's what we would like to see. Hopefully that mountain range did its job and did disrupt the storm circulation a little bit, just enough to maybe prevent it from putting out a tornado. Storms are pretty picky. It's hard to make a tornado. So when you disrupt the airflow, even just a little bit, that can ruin the whole situation, and that's good. That's what we want to see happen. The biggest threat for tornadoes going into the rest of the afternoon, into the early overnight hours, is anywhere in the North Carolina mountains, anywhere in the North Carolina foothills, including the Triad area. So Wilkes County, all the way over to Yadkin, Surrey, Stokes, Rockingham, Guilford, Forsyth, Davidson, Randolph, Davie, all the way down toward Charlotte. We're in that level 2 threat of severe weather. That means there are tornadoes possible through tonight. Let me show you Futurecast. This is what it's capturing right now. We have a couple areas moving through. We know this has produced tornadoes already. That one to the east, not quite so much. It's farther away from the storm. Here's the concern going forward. This is 5 and 6 and 7 o'clock tonight. This band starts to get into North Carolina. This is the strong one. That's around 5 to 6 o'clock, okay? As we get towards 7 and 8 o'clock, we see that moving closer in, and then that storm even regenerates a little bit. So even by the time midnight rolls around, this is around 11 o'clock, a very busy radar will continue. And we could see tornado warnings again for the overnight hours, even into the Triad by around 2 to 3 o'clock this morning. Not what we want to see, but I'm just letting you know so you can prepare and not be caught by surprise when you and your family go to bed later on tonight. Just a reminder. reminder, if you ever get impacted by a tornado warning, what you got to do, go to the lowest level of a well-built structure, wherever you live, lowest level. Take cover in a small central room. For me at my place, it's a bathroom or it's a closet. I don't have a basement. You might not either. Closets, bathrooms, you want to have all the walls around you not being exterior walls of the home. Put as many barriers between you and the outside as humanly possible and remain there until that storm has passed. Like I said, you can take us with you as you go to your safe spot. That's what we recommend. Have that phone fired up so you continue to stay informed. And then when we say, hey, your town is clear, you can get out and you can kind of go about your day. But until then, you got to be keeping yourself safe. Top floor is not safe. The roof can be in damaged spot. Don't want to be near windows, don't want to be near exterior walls, but an interior room like a bathroom, a staircase, something along those lines. If you have a basement, that's absolutely the only place you want to be during a storm because you are the best protected when you're in that basement location. Those are our tips for you, all related to tropical systems. They usually don't produce strong tornadoes, but they are still possible, and we have been seeing that for today. One more reset of the radar, and then we'll check in with Christian to see what else he has for us. Plenty of rain and storms, and I'm getting a lot of questions. Reedsville, Greensboro, Winston-Salem. What about us? A lot of rain headed your way, and that's the way it's going to be this afternoon. Pours, stops. Pours, stops. But as of now, there's no rotation that we're worried about, and there are no tornado warnings for those counties. There is still a tornado warning for Allegheny County. They've canceled it for Wilkes. It's north of Highway 21 right now, and it's moving just to the east of Sparta, very close to Sparta, just to the east of it. Here's Highway 18. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit closer so we can get more roads on here for you. But that storm just north of Cherry Lane, just to the east of Sparta. That was too much zooming, but we're near Fox Den Lane. Let me put a stop to this so we can get a better view here. Fox Den Lane, Glade Valley. What else do we have? We are looking at Quincy Road, Drell Church Road, Cedar Brook Lane. Farther to the north there, Sally Road, Chestnut Grove Church Road, and coming up, the next highway that it's going to pass over is going to be Highway 18, okay? So Highway 18, you're up next. That's where the storm is going to push over next. There is still some rotation in this storm. It's not as impressive as it was before, and not really that impressive at all, to be honest with you. I think this is weakening in a pretty big way, but it is still a tornado warning. We're going to treat it as such until it crosses across the border. Let me put a speed on here for you. This is moving at 25 miles per hour. So as it moves to the north, we're going to track it into southern Virginia. Looks like it would be well out of Allegheny County by 2:30. We're only talking about a few more miles within Allegheny County. And once it crosses over, we're going to leave you just because, you know, we are not into southern Virginia here in Greensboro. It's 4 miles away from the Virginia border, about 4 to 3 miles away there. So again, Allegheny under the gun just for the next 5 to 10 minutes. After that, your threat will be ending. This is right near Sparta, but just to the east of town. It's going to cross right over Highway 18 into southern Virginia next. Plenty of heavy rain on its heels. We've seen some lightning happening in Stokes County. Plenty of heavy rain in Rockingham County. It's clearing up a little bit. Burlington, Greensboro, Winston-Salem. That sounds good, but we also don't really want sunshine on a day like today. When you do that, you can just add fuel to the fire and make it easier for those showers and storms to become tornadoes later on. There are your warnings. There are more warnings that have been popping up in South Carolina. So as you look farther to the south, that's a concern down there that we will continue to keep an eye on here locally. So we'll be watching that line more in the evening hours tonight, okay? More in the evening hours tonight is what we'll keep an eye on. But that tornado warning probably only going to be in effect for about 5 to 10 more minutes for Allegheny County, and then we're going to return you to regularly scheduled programming. This is still a radar indicated storm. We haven't seen confirmation in a little bit. Here's your next scan, latest radar scan here. We're near right along Highway 18 now, Choate Dairy Road, Hilltop Road, Natural Dam Road, and this is along Chestnut Grove Church Road as well. Right along Highway 18 in Allegheny County. Christian Morgan, you've been watching the feeds, looking at social media, looking at the National Weather Service. What are you seeing? What can you tell us? And what's the radar looking like for you?
Yeah, continuing to see the same things that you are, Tim. That storm continues to weaken. Of course, that tornado warning does continue for Allegheny County for about the next 15 minutes until about 2:30. Let's reset here for just a couple minutes, kind of get our bearings. The time now is 2:14. You're watching WFMY News 2. Of course, the reason we are on your TV and instead of your regular programming is because we do have one tornado warning in our viewing area. This is for Allegheny County. It continues until about 2:30. Now, even though this is the only tornado warning on the map at the moment, I want to show you what's happening. We've been kind of watching over the last hour or so this kind of band or line of downpours and storms to form. Started out first as just two little downpours in Randolph County, and then as it moved north, that developed really into this line of torrential rain and gusty winds. Now, there's not anything severe in this. There's no tornadoes in this, but there are little spots where the storms are spinning. Now, of course, it's not enough to issue a tornado warning, but it's anything, like I mentioned earlier, today we'll have to keep an eye on for the possibility of a quick spin-up tornado just because of the general motion. Notice they're not exactly moving north. They've got a little bit of that westward component to them, and that's basically one of these outer bands of Fred developing as the storm rotates and kind of carries off to the north. So it already has that spinning motion in it, which is why we also have to pay close attention to it for that quick spin-up tornado. But again, no tornado warnings other than Allegheny County right now. That continues until 2:30. And I've been trying to keep tabs here with our folks at the National Weather Service just to see if they're talking about what they're seeing, and maybe they're seeing the same thing that we are about this really weakening down. I don't really see this as strong rotation anymore, but for the time being, they are going to continue this warning up until about 2:30. I think just to err on the side of caution because over the last little while, we've seen it kind of weaken down and then try to strengthen back up, try to tighten back up. But it looks like it's really breaking apart now. Again, a lot of this is probably because it's moving into the rough terrain of the mountains, and it moves up into the mountains, into that higher elevation and into that rough terrain. It can really chop that rotation up. So this is much more disorganized than it was 10 to even 15 minutes ago, and we'll likely see this warning expired here in just the next couple minutes, of course. But until 2:30 or until they decide to do something with that warning, we are going to stay on your TV just for us, again, to err on the side of caution. But again, I know we talked a lot about Allegheny County and haven't really mentioned our folks here in Wilkes County in the last couple minutes. So if you're in Wilkes County, you're all done with the storm, okay? You're in the all clear. But what I would tell you is that not to let your guard down as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. The problem here is that we could be doing this again through the dinner time hour up until 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. We may be back on your TV again because as these bands form, at any point they could possibly spin up and form a quick tornado. Generally, usually with a system like this, they're not long-lived and they're not super strong tornadoes. But I'll tell you, this system that we're tracking now in Allegheny County, it got a warning on it first. We were on your TV when it was leaving Iredell County and moving into Wilkes County and into Yadkin County. So we've been on your TV for a while, and this has had several pictures, several pieces of video on it confirming that a tornado has been on the ground with this same cell, and it's shown this strong sign of rotation ever since it was down in Iredell County around 12 or 12:30 this afternoon. So we've been tracking this for you for quite a while. But again, we will assess the damage and get those damage reports in as we go throughout the rest of the evening. As we look back here at the live radar, again, only thing on the map is this tornado warning for Allegheny County. It continues for about the next 10 minutes up until about 2:30. And even the storm itself, we show you that rotation. We show you that velocity map to show you how the winds are spinning and how they're rotating. But even on just a live radar reflectivity view here, you can kind of see that big spot of red that indicates the most intense piece of the storm has really been weakening down. And now, one thing I'm going to stop this radar loop because it's a little bit distracting for me even. What you notice here is that the storm isn't really so tight and compact right now. You see it kind of fanning out and kind of spreading out. And basically what that shows me is that the storm could be kind of collapsing on itself as it runs into the mountain. So that not only is weakening the storm down, it's also weakening that piece of rotation down as well. So again, thanks for bearing with us here. Again, I just want to show you this latest scan on our velocity map. I don't really see any reds and greens mixing that would show us really strong signs of rotation. So I think the rotation is all but gone at this moment by the way I look at the velocity map here. Again, National Weather Service is going to continue this probably for just the next couple minutes just to kind of err on the side of caution. But they do sometimes expire these early, and I'm just checking in here with our folks at the National Weather Service up in Blacksburg. That's the radar that we're using here in the office that does work this area of our viewing area. They're not saying anything about it at the moment. But again, I think pretty soon we're going to be in the all clear. Now, just as I say that, we do have a brand new tornado warning. This is for Caswell County for this storm right here that we're looking at. Again, this is brand new. You're getting this information just as I see it. So this goes until 3 o'clock. And this is brand new for this storm. This is up near Anderson. This is in Caswell County. I know we have some folks in that area that watch us as well. And this will go until 3 o'clock as well. So again, brand new tornado warning. This is for Caswell County. Again, radar indicated area of rotation. Hasn't been confirmed on the ground, but it has been radar indicated. And what they're looking at right here, I can see it, is where these greens and these reds are starting to mix, just kind of to the south of Fitch, right along Highway 62. You see that rotation starting to form here, greens and reds mixing. That shows you the wind that's going in towards the radar in green, and the wind's coming away from the radar in red. So winds are spinning like this, and that would indicate the possibility of a tornado. Again, not confirmed at this point, but that is radar indicated rotation. So if you're in these areas, be in your safe spot now. If you're in Yanceyville, if you're up in High Towers, if you're in Anderson even, you should be in your safe spot now, as the storm could produce a tornado. So again, moving right along Highway 62, this is a brand new tornado warning for Caswell County. It does include Fitch, it does include Yanceyville, and includes folks along the Highway 58 corridor there. Also does include High Towers as well, as the storm kind of moves off to the north. A little bit of a westward component to it, but Fitch, you're under the gun now. Yanceyville, you're under the gun. So you need to be in your safe spot now. Make sure you're wearing shoes, goggles, something to protect your head. A helmet, bike helmet even, is a great idea, because if you have damage, if you have debris in your home, it can pierce through doors and walls, even if you're in that most inner room in your home. So make sure you go there, stay there now. If you have friends and family in this area, even if you're not watching us and you live in this area, if you know folks here, call them now. Let them know there's a storm knocking on their door that could be producing a tornado in the next few minutes. I know it's the middle of the afternoon. Folks may be doing other things. They may be watching Hulu, or maybe watching Netflix, or maybe out running errands. Let them know now that there is a storm in their area that could be producing a tornado over the next several minutes. And we'll continue to keep eyes on this. So what I want to do, again, I don't want to forget about our folks in Allegheny County. I'm going to run back over here and check on this storm. But again, I'm continuing to see the same thing that we've seen over the last several scans, is that this rotation is pretty much all but broken apart. This will continue until 2:30, but I assume that this will be allowed to expire. And if you bear with me just a second, I'm going to check one more time with our folks at the National Weather Service to see if they're mentioning. They're not mentioning that storm, but they are talking about the brand new tornado warning up in Caswell County as well. So that's brand new. It's just a couple minutes ago. The time now 2:22. You're watching WFMY News 2. Meteorologist Christian Morgan, Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley along with you to keep you up to date. And I know there may be a lot of folks watching that say, I don't live in this area. I don't know people in that area, but it's still in our area and we still have to keep people safe. So that's why we're on your TV this afternoon. New tornado warning goes until 3 o'clock. This is for Caswell County. Yanceyville, you are under the gun. Fitch, you're under the gun over the next several minutes as this storm moves off to the north and off to the northwest a bit. You see this line that we've been talking about over the last hour or two? One of these outer bands really developing over the last hour or two that we talked about. Started out as two little downpours leaving Montgomery County, moving into Randolph County, and then kind of blossomed into this line, or into this band of rain and gusty winds. It's not severe right now in Surrey County, or up in Stokes County, or in Rockingham County as well, but there are some gusty winds and things are rotating in that storm. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this. Real quick, I want to toss it back to Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley, but a brand new tornado warning for Caswell County until 3 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right, Christian. Thanks very much. So this is the new one. We are not that concerned any longer with Allegheny, because, as we mentioned, that one is weakening and about to cross that Virginia border and move out of the state of North Carolina. Now, though, we have that new tornado warning for Caswell County. So this is brand new. This runs until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just to set your bearings here, we're looking at Yanceyville. This tornado warning is really close to Yanceyville. Let me pause this because it gets confusing if I leave everything on all at once. So we're looking at Yanceyville right here. This is the small community of Top Knot. Here's Highway 158. US 158, the storm that's of concern is right here, right along Highway 62 as well. It goes south from Yanceyville down, going toward the Alamance County area. This storm is pushing to the north and west, so that's a weird direction. And a lot of times with tropical systems, we see that strange movement. Sorry, that's the wrong direction. We're looking at a movement somewhat like this, right? So as it moves this way, it's going to be pushing into Yanceyville next, north and west. this direction from that storm. This moving right around here, that's where we're seeing that rotation. And I want to switch over to the velocity as we like to do. And I'll show you two opinions here. This is a part of the area where we have two radars that can catch this at the same time, right? So we're looking at this one from Blacksburg, noticing that green right up against the red. This is the spinning part of the storm. And honestly, even if you're not within the red line, I'd still be taking shelter if you're in Locust Hill or in Millsville, because this is that spinning part to me. It looks just south of Yanceyville at the moment. Let me switch the radar to look at Blacksburg instead of Raleigh. There we go. In this case, we're seeing the rotation a little bit over here. So it is that south of Yanceyville area where there's enough of that rotation to prompt a tornado warning from the National Weather Service. Put it on there right there for you. That's that spinning motion. And we've seen that so much today. We saw it in the Foothills first. Now we're seeing it in parts of the Piedmont with that line of showers and storms that just moved through. So if you had rain in Burlington earlier, you had it in Mebane, that storm, once it moved north of you, has started to rotate. It wasn't where you were, but now it is. And that's why we have to let folks in Caswell County know about this tornado warning. That rotation is going to head north. If you live in Danville, Virginia, you're going to be up next, okay? So Danville, Virginia, just down the road, that could be your situation by around 3 o'clock. So pay attention, have your plan now, know where to go if you need to, because this storm means business. That rotation is new, it's brand new for us. So let's get you the latest radar scan. This is moving out of High Towers, moving closer to Yanceyville. And as we zoom in a little bit closer, you see that motion. I'm going to hit the live button so you can see this. And I know it's a little hard to see. Can we take this full very quickly when you have a chance? Just give folks the total view here. But we're looking at the town of Yanceyville, West Yanceyville as well. There you can see it nice and crisp, all full on your screen. And this is that storm. It's really bearing down on Yanceyville. Right now, there's no time to wait. It's only about 1 mile away. From West Yanceyville, it's about 3 miles away. So you can see why we're sounding the alarms here. It's already moving into town. Your storm rotation, not terribly impressive compared to the ones we saw out west, but there is some of it. And it would be right about here that we are looking at that rotation just south of Yanceyville. And that storm, as I mentioned, it's moving to the north and moving to the west. So your arrival times are something like this. Yanceyville about 2:30, West Yanceyville, well, it's right now. So farther down the line, Duncan Elementary School, point of interest in the western part of Caswell County, that would be 2:38. Eventually, Park Spring would be impacted by this as well. That would be closer to 2:42. So 2:42 this afternoon, we'd be looking at Park Spring. I want to read for you the text from the National Weather Service. This is a radar indicated tornado, which means it hasn't been spotted on the ground yet. Not just yet. It is moving to the northwest at 25 miles per hour. Not as strong as the ones we saw in the west yet. Not yet, but it could be getting to that level. As of right now, I'm pretty encouraged, to be honest with you. It's not spinning all that much compared to the other ones. There is some rotation here, but it's not quite as much. So hopefully this will be allowed to kind of expire sometime soon. But we are looking at that band pushing through Caswell County. You've got yourself a tornado warning until 3 o'clock this afternoon and evening. So please make sure you're getting to your safe location. Just for my purposes, I want to make sure I'm staying on top of all the storms in our area all at once. We'll get back to Caswell in just a second. In Rockingham County, right on the Rockingham and Stokes border, you do have a little bit of rotation just to the west of Mayodan. It's not much, but there's a little bit here that I'm sure we're going to be watching carefully. That's not a tornado warning, but it is something to keep an eye on if you're along that Stokes-Rockingham border line. That storm too is moving to the north and west. Surrey County, you're doing okay. Just a lot of heavy rain for you at the moment. And this tornado warning, just to sound the all clear here, not concerned anymore about Allegheny. That is moving up into southern Virginia and not going to be an issue any longer, okay? So the only tornado warning we have right now is for Caswell. And on the wider view, you can see we have new bands and new showers and storms coming through all the time. So those newer ones are going to move in. As of now, they're not rotating either, but it's just the kind of a day that really we don't like, because everything and everything can spin a little bit, and they're usually not super strong, so they're hard to catch. and we have to be very careful to make sure not to miss any of them, okay? So that's the Weather Service putting out these warnings, making sure that everyone gets warning just to be on the safe side. That's the idea behind this with this tropical system. So if you're just joining us, you're saying, well, where are these warnings now? I can't tell the difference between one and the next one and the other. I get it. We've had some from Wilkes County earlier, Yadkin County earlier, then Allegheny. Now we're on the other side of the Piedmont. It's kind of strange, right? But we're sounding the all clear to the west for now. Maybe later you have to worry again, but not now. We're looking at a new warning that just came down. This is for Caswell County, and it's just one county for the moment. It might be extended up into Virginia if it continues, but right now we're looking at Caswell County. This is until 3 o'clock, so the next 30 minutes we're going to be tracking that rotation for you. Meteorologist Christian Morgan's been here all morning into the midday tracking all these storms for us. Christian, tell me what you're seeing at the moment with this latest storm.
Yeah, so let's reset here and kind of look at a wide view. I know we've been on your TV for a long time this afternoon, so thanks for bearing with us. Time right now is 2:29. You're watching WFMY News 2. The reason that we are on your TV is that we've had tornado warnings in our area. Most notably, the one that was just canceled and allowed to expire, I should say, was up in Allegheny County. That storm is now away from you. Wilkes County, you're in the clear. Allegheny County, you're in the clear at the moment. But we do have this brand new tornado warning for Caswell County, that goes until 3 o'clock. And what I'm seeing, I'm actually encouraged by. So what we've been watching is kind of this line or this band of rain. Of course, all of this associated with Tropical Depression Fred. We've been watching this band of rain form over the last couple hours and get pretty strong in some places. Now, along this line, there are little areas of rotation that I'm keeping my eye on. None strong enough right now to prompt a tornado warning other than the one that's in Caswell County. But even that one, I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing. So let me zoom in here just a little bit closer. Again, this goes until 3 o'clock. So if you're in these areas, if you're in Yanceyville, West Yanceyville, even if you're in Locust Hill, you need to be in your safe spot right now until this storm passes you. But what I'm seeing is, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, bear with me here. This is really, really casual. So we're seeing the information as you're seeing it, and we're passing it along to you. But that area of rotation we saw with strong reds and greens mixing, I'm not really seeing that showing up anymore. I think most closely it's right here along Highway 62, where Highway 62 and Highway 86 meet. But I'm not seeing that strong rotation anymore. So this looks like it's kind of weakening and falling apart. So that, of course, is good news. I think just to err on the side of caution yet again, like we've been doing all day, the National Weather Service will continue this tornado warning for just a little while. But if this stays like this and it continues to weaken, I don't expect this to continue until 3 o'clock. Nonetheless, we want you to be safe, want you to stay in your safe spot. Yanceyville, West Yanceyville, even Locust Hill. Even though I know you're not inside this polygon, this storm is moving to the north and west, and everything today really has that northwest motion to it. And so we need to be just extra cautious and extra safe, because a lot of times the storm can actually start to move a little bit different and kind of outrun that polygon. So we'll keep an eye on that. But what I'm seeing right now, again, I'm very encouraged by. There's not strong rotation that I'm seeing at the moment, but Yanceyville, again, West Yanceyville, you're still in your safe spot. You're still paying attention until this storm gets past you. Now, a little further down, if you're in Fitch, if you're in Anderson, Hightowers, even over to Leesburg, I know you're still included in this polygon, but the storm is well to the north of you. So let me sound the all clear for our folks in Hightowers, Anderson, and down in Corbett as well. Even though you're in that polygon, again, the storm has moved away from you. So you are good to come out of your safe spot. Just be very careful as you do that. Make sure you have shoes on, just in case there was some debris or some damage to your home, if there in fact was a tornado on the ground. Now, again, as I say that, let me back up and show you. I can show you right here. This is a radar indicated tornado. So we don't have eyes on this. There's nothing confirmed that was on the ground. We just know that it was spinning and it was rotating, and radar indicated that there could be a tornado there. So until we have reports, we can't confirm that, but that's something we'll continue to watch over the next several hours. Again, on the wide view, not too much happening elsewhere in the triad, but we do have that one tornado warning that continues until 3 o'clock this afternoon for Caswell County. And again, if this continues to weaken, I expect that we'll see this be canceled or be allowed to expire early. Again, we'll watch this right on the line of moving into southern Virginia. So again, if you're in Danville, this storm is moving into your neck of the woods. So be on guard, be on safe spot. Make sure you're paying attention, just in case that were to re-strengthen or re-tighten up. That tornado warning could be issued up into your area. But all of this about to leave North Carolina. We're right on the Surrey County line, Stokes County line, Rockingham County line, moving into southern Virginia. And once it gets into Virginia, this will likely no longer be an issue for us. But I still see strong storms here in Surry County. Just even though it's not severe, even though there's not a tornado warning here, there's torrential rain in Mount Airy. There's torrential rain in King and over into Stokes County as well, and some gusty winds as well. This has a history of producing 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts, even if it's not spinning. So be on guard for that. You're going to get drenched with rain, and you'll likely have some gusty winds that could eventually even bring down some trees. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Of course, new tornado warning, that's over in the foothills, not in our area at the moment. So let me go back over here, just kind of check in back with our folks in Caswell County as well. And again, I still see this continuing to weaken. I don't see any strong signs of rotation at the moment. Where that would be, or where that area that we're watching, I know it might be hard for you to see at home, but this is right along Highway 58. This is right near Yanceyville and West Yanceyville. So that area of the storm that was spinning that could have been producing a brief tornado is now sitting right over Highway 158 in Yanceyville and West Yanceyville, but is continuing to weaken. So that's encouraging. That is encouraging. And most of the time when you get a system like this, I think we've touched on this earlier today, but if you've just joined us, most of the time when you get a tropical system to move through like this, anytime you get a quick spin up tornado, they're usually not all that strong and they're usually short lived. So of course that gives us at least some hope as we go into the afternoon, and that is continuing to weaken up in Caswell County as well. At the moment, let me leave this radar view here for you just a second and reset. I do want to check in with our folks at the National Weather Service here up in Blacksburg, Virginia, just to see if they're mentioning this at all, if maybe they're talking about possibly expiring this morning a little early. And while I check on that, let me toss it back over to Tim. And Tim, you can let me know if you've seen anything different or you've seen any reports of damage in that area. But to me, it looks like that area of rotation in that storm itself is weakening quite a bit.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Christian. I mean, at the moment, what we're seeing in Caswell County is not that impressive compared to what we saw earlier in the day. Having said all of that, it is still a tornado warning and still something we should be watching very carefully. I've actually been looking too at Rockingham and Stokes County. I mentioned that a couple of minutes ago, but I do want to let you know, if you're in this general area, right along the Stokes-Rockingham line, they call this Beaver Island on our map anyway, near really Highway 704, right there along 772 as well. This is spinning a little bit. There's not a tornado warning here for Stokes, but I'd be on guard. I'd be in a safe location if it were me. That concerns me a little bit. We might have to get to that one next, but let's go back to the business at hand. Rockingham County, you're fine. We're looking at Caswell at the moment. With this heavy rain, there has been at times some rotation, and that's why there's that tornado warning. But I do want to kind of sound the all clear if you're in Yanceyville, because that storm not really rotating any longer, especially over you. So I think we're pretty good shape for Yanceyville. I think you don't need to worry quite so much any longer. We'll wait for official confirmation of that, but the storm itself seems to be kind of widening out, weakening a little bit, and moving to the north. So frame of reference, this red line here, that's the Virginia border. It's pushing up, riding right along Highway 86. Yanceyville, it's moved through you and it's passed over. If you're in Yanceyville and if you have any reports, even if it's just to say, hey, that storm was no big deal, can you give us a call? We would like to hear from you. We'd like to know that information because that is good info to know. We want to know if it was bad, if it wasn't, because we can pass that along to other folks as well and help to keep them safe. But Danville, heads up for you. Pelham as well, heads up for you. This storm is pushing right along that Highway 86 corridor. And if we zoom in even closer, this is near Purley, near Park Spring, Gatewood. You would be up next. Wallace Mill too. Those are those areas that are kind of under the gun next. But at the moment, there's just not much rotation. So if it were me, I would think this is probably no longer a tornado warning of much concern for Caswell County. But we'll keep you posted. A couple more checks before we kind of reset again. We're in Rockingham County here. Not much in the way of rotation for Eden. You're good to go. Just rainfall for you. But there is rotation right over here. And this is not what I want to see. This is near Ayersville, Sandy Ridge, near Delta, near Amostown. This is Highway 704. Sorry, this is 770. That's 704. There is spinning going on here. So we're in Stokes County, heading to the north, only a couple miles within the county. But yeah, that looks to be a little bit of a concern to me. So if you have friends and family right up there in Stokes County, we can see it clear there's some rotation. So I think that's more impressive than the storm over in Caswell at the moment. Farther to the west, you're in good shape in the western Stokes area. Fine shape in Surrey County. Don't worry about anything other than heavy rainfall at the moment. But here's part of the problem. And not to kind of depress you here, but we do look at a lot more action to our south. We are early in the game here. We have the warning in Caswell, but take a look. There's another warning in the Foothills. There are several more in South Carolina, south of Columbia, several hours away from us. And you go farther over closer to Asheville, they're dealing with flood warnings and tornado warnings. So this is going to be a long game. We're going to follow this through the early evening, the late evening, and even into the overnight hours. I do think this tornado risk, unfortunately, continues until midnight and even a little beyond for our area. So we have to be very much on guard even while we're sleeping. So what I want you to do is make sure you have multiple ways for you to receive alerts. You got one of these, right? Have your phone alerts turned on, have the News 2 app on there with the alerts turned on, but especially those emergency alerts, they buzz your phone. It will wake you up. And if you have a weather radar or weather radio, I should say, make sure that is fired up and ready to go as well. We'll keep on tracking this for you until it's officially canceled, but that tornado warning in Caswell County not looking quite as impressive as it once did. Yanceyville, you're in the clear. Rain should be kind of winding down quite shortly, but in the meantime, that warning does continue until 3 o'clock. Earlier today, Sparta, you had that warning for a tornado. That one is gone. That was from the storm over in Wilkes County. Let me reset. I know we repeat ourselves over and over again, don't we? But our job is to get you the info that can help you make good decisions for your family to keep everybody safe. But they are continuing this tornado warning for Caswell County until 3 o'clock, and we'll see if that holds together much more. I'm going to toss it over to Christian Morgan at the moment, who's been, scouring social media. You see any reports out there, Christian? This thing is getting closer to Danville at the moment.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Tim, I haven't seen much in the way of reports, and the way we looked at this, right when that tornado warning was issued for Caswell County, it showed signs of strengthening up and kind of tightening up, and it doesn't seem like it lasted very long. I'm not really seeing anything that's of concern at the moment. Like Tim mentioned, I think the bigger concern actually doesn't have a tornado warning on it right now, but there is an area of rotation that I'm watching right along the Rockingham County and Stokes County line. And so just to reset here, kind of a wide view of what's going on across the Piedmont, we have this line or this band of rain, kind of one of these outer bands that have developed. Of course, all of this is associated with Tropical Depression Fred. We had that tornado warning in Wilkes County and Allegheny County earlier. All that's expired. There's only one tornado warning on the map at the moment. That's for Caswell County, and it goes until 3 o'clock. But that doesn't look as concerning to me anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if they expire this early or allow this to kind of run out over the next few minutes. So I'll keep an eye on that. But let me zoom in a little closer right on that Rockingham County and Stokes County line, show you what we're talking about. Even though right now this has no warning on it, there's no severe storms in this, there's plenty of lightning in this storm, plenty of torrential rain, and also gusty winds as well, even if this storm isn't rotating in some spots. And you can see it kind of on a wide view what I'm looking at. You see these bright greens and bright reds here? That's what I'm looking at as far as winds spinning and winds rotating in this storm. So what we're looking at here is kind of like right along Highway 704. This is Sandy Ridge here. This is Amostown. This is Ayersville. Again, right along Highway 770 here. You see the bright greens and the reds kind of starting to mix. And what's happening, what we're looking at is the winds coming into and winds coming away from the radar. That's what the different colors show you. So green coming into the radar, red coming away from the radar. And just as you see that update here, we got a brand new scan. So it's still not all that strong, but it does give me cause for concern to continue to watch this as it moves through northern Stokes County. This is going to be right on the North Carolina and Virginia border here in just a couple minutes. So Amostown, Sandy Ridge, you're getting torrential rain. You're absolutely getting some gusty winds. And this storm is spinning a bit. It is trying to rotate, especially trying to tighten up right here just kind of south of Amostown. You see the reds and the greens starting to mix here just to the north of Highway 776. So we are watching that very closely. It doesn't have a tornado warning on it yet, but I'm sure that the National Weather Service is kind of seeing the same thing that we're seeing and also keeping a close eye on that. Again, only tornado warning we have at the moment is for Caswell County, and this is kind of moving north. This is going to be moving into Danville over the next few minutes, so it's right on the North Carolina-Virginia border. So Danville, I'd say you're up for this storm moving into your area over the next 5 to 10 minutes or so, and that area of rotation would be right here just to the east of Highway 86. So that's the area that we've been watching, but it hasn't strengthened back up. It hasn't tightened back up over the last few minutes. So I would say that this tornado warning may be allowed to expire in the next few minutes. Of course, we don't issue the warnings, we don't cancel them, we don't expire them. The folks at the National Weather Service do that, and we pass that information along to you. We are not allowed and cannot issue warnings here at the TV station. So we are passing along to you what we are seeing as well. Of course, on a wider view, we've been talking about this, all of it associated, and all of this is cause of Tropical Depression Fred. Now, the center of that circulation, you can see it kind of moving over into Tennessee, and this is going to track right up the spine of the Appalachian Mountains. Now, unfortunately, the issue as we go throughout the rest of the evening is that at any point, these downpours or maybe a storm could start to rotate. Just that spinning motion you see of the storm overall makes it easier for these things to spin up quick tornadoes. And kind of that, what we called a mega band earlier, that strongest band of rain and of thunderstorms that we've been watching, really in the upstate of South Carolina right now. And earlier today, it has produced several tornado warnings, and they have been several severe thunderstorms, several tornado warnings throughout the morning and into the early afternoon. There's none on it right now, but expect to see more of those popping up over the next few hours. And that's what we'll be keeping our eye on through dinner time and through early evening. Unfortunately, I think that we are still under that low tornado risk as we go into the evening and nighttime hours too. So we'll keep a close eye on that. And if you're just joining us now, I know or maybe you've been here for a while. We've been on your TV for quite a while. And just as I say that, I want to draw your attention to the fact we have a brand new tornado warning on that area of rotation that we were watching right along the Stokes County and Rockingham County line. So allow me just to reset while you're with me here and pass this along to you. You're looking at this just as I am, brand new information, new tornado warning, goes until 3:15. This is for Henry County and Patrick County, Virginia, also Rockingham County and Stokes County here in North Carolina. But pretty soon, this is going to be out of Rockingham County and going to be out of Stokes County. So let me just, again, bear with me while I zoom in here on the radar and kind of get our bearings here. Zoom in and show you that area of rotation that we're watching. Again, this is really starting to leave Stokes County. It's not even really a Rockingham County storm, but I know you're included in that polygon. So Amostown, Sheldon Store Road, you're not in the polygon, but this is just to the east of you, just kind of north of Highway 770 here. Here's Amostown. This is the area of rotation that we're watching that could strengthen up, could tighten up, and eventually produce a tornado. Now, this is just radar indicated at the moment, so we don't have confirmed reports that this is an actual tornado on the ground, but there is spinning, it is rotating, and could eventually produce one if it stays together. So what I'm going to do here is kind of put a track on it for you. They're moving fairly quickly at about 25 miles per hour, and everything is kind of moving to the northwest. So eventually, this is going to cross over Highway 58 there in Virginia. So Shepherd's Mill, Nettle Ridge, Critz, and Patrick Springs, you're under the gun over the next 30 minutes or so for this storm. So if you're included in this polygon, if you're in Shepherd's Mill, you need to be in your safe spot right now. This storm is knocking on your door at the moment. Nettle Ridge on its way to you in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, and then Patrick Springs over the next 30 minutes if that rotation holds together. So again, Shepherd's Mill, if you're right on that Stokes County line and you're right on the line of North Carolina and Virginia, you are in your safe spot right now if you're in Shepherd's Mill. And even if you don't live in those areas, I stress this, I can't stress this enough. If you have family and friends that live in that area, call them right now. It's the middle of the afternoon. They may be doing other things. They may be trying to run errands or watch things on Hulu and Netflix, and tell them to turn their TV on right now because they do have a storm that's knocking on the door that could eventually produce a tornado. Again, I'll reiterate this. If you're in your safe spot, you're wearing shoes, you're wearing goggles, you're wearing a helmet to protect your head from any flying debris if this strengthens up and does start to throw debris into the air and cause damage. So you're wearing shoes, goggles, a helmet to keep yourself safe and staying in that safe spot until this storm passes you. Again, don't take these arrival times to the bank. These are just radar estimated to get you prepared, but you need to be paying attention now and being in your safe spot. So let's zoom out. Don't want to forget about our friends here in Caswell County. This tornado warning does continue until 3 o'clock, but here's the area of rotation that we're watching. Sorry, let me flip this back over here so you can see it. It really isn't even all that noticeable right now. It's continued to weaken down over the last several minutes, really now leaving Caswell County and moving up into Danville. So Danville, you're under the gun right now with heavy rain and possibly some rotation in this storm, but it just doesn't look all that impressive to me. The storm over in Stokes County is more impressive to me at the moment. So bear with me just 1 second. I want to go back in here to our folks at the National Weather Service and see if they're discussing or maybe talking about letting that warning expire a little bit earlier, going ahead and canceling that. They're not mentioning it now, but I will sound the all clear for folks in Yanceyville, and if you're in West Yanceyville, this storm is now past you to the north. Locust Hill, you're fine. Ruffin, you're fine. Leesburg, you're fine. This storm is leaving Caswell County and moving into Virginia. Danville, still be on guard. You're not in a tornado warning, but do pay attention to this. Gusty winds, heavy rain, and the potential that it could quickly spin back up or tighten back up. For the moment, let's toss it back over to Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley. And Tim, you can let me know if you're seeing anything different than I am.
Not really, Christian, other than the fact that we were saying Caswell got weaker, not really all that concerned about that, and the storm we were tracking that was spinning up is the one to be alert. Let's show you this though. We're looking on the wide view across North and South Carolina, not what we want to see. What I mean, we have several tornado warnings going on from north to south. This main line is still all the way down by the Georgia border, which means we're early in this storm system, not late. Unfortunately, this threat is going to continue through dinner time, through evening, and through overnight. I think we'll be dealing with this through right around midnight or even a little bit after that. Not what we want here, but I'm just kind of mentally preparing you. Make sure you don't get too far away from that phone as the day wears on, and just stay weather aware. Most of the times, these aren't going to affect you. Right now, we're only tracking storms that are affecting a small number of people, but you got to stay alert just to make sure you can get those alerts when they're issued for your area. Again, Caswell County, technically your tornado warning continues. We're really not that concerned any longer because the rotation has weakened a lot up in that area. We are worried about this one though. This is a tornado warning for lots of counties listed, but mainly I'm only watching the Stokes County, Patrick County line heading north and west closer to Patrick Springs, Virginia. So Patrick County, Virginia, we are covering that area, and that is the one that we're watching at this time. It's headed right toward US 58. It'll be crossing there shortly and moving continuously to the north and to the west. There's a lot of spinning in this one. It's not weak. It looks to be stronger, so more likely to be producing a tornado than some of the ones we had looked at before. Near the Shepherd's Mill community, not that far from Moorfield Store, Nettle Ridge, right along Highway 58. That's where that storm is. And there's the rotation. As I show this to you, this is the part that's going this direction. That's the one that's going the other direction. That's your spinning. And that's why the Weather Service is putting out that tornado warning. Let me back that up one more time. I'm going to click a button and change the view here as I can. Hold on real tight. I'll be right back on the screen. And there you have it. This is just a better view of that rotation that we've been tracking. The reds next to the greens, never a good sign. That shows you the spinning that's happening, and it's all traveling to the north and to the west. So if you're in Patrick Springs, Virginia, or really anywhere in Patrick County, I want you to be on guard. It's mainly for the eastern chunk of the county. That rotation has moved into southern Virginia, so don't worry at all if you're in Rockingham County. I know your phone probably buzzed. Don't worry. It's out of there. You're fine. Stokes County too, whatever that storm was doing for you, it has done it now. It's moved just across the border, and Virginia is impacted next. But Patrick Springs, you're going to be right on the edge of this thing as it does move closer to you over the next 20 to 30 or so minutes. This warning does continue until 3:15. It's just north of Shepherd's Mill now. It's moving right there closer to Highway 56. It is indicated by radar, so we don't have a spotter on the ground that has seen this tornado with their own eyes just yet. That doesn't mean it's not happening. So that is what we're looking at. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer and give you some new streets so we can track this with our News 2 radar on street level for you. Let's go even tighter. So this is right around, let's see, Kelly Mill Road. We're near Trent's Store Lane. And then Highway 58, which is a major divided highway in the area near Nettle Ridge. That's where the storm is. And it's really actually moving pretty quickly. And there's that rotation that we talked about. It's not slow. It's moving fast. It's right here. You can see it plain as day, that rotation on your screen. If it continues at the speed that it's going, let me make sure I'm getting the speed correctly here. National Weather Service says this is moving at about 25 miles per hour. Okay, so if this is moving at 25 miles per hour, let's put some storm tracks on this for you. It's going to continue this general direction. It would be near Patrick Springs by about 3:10. Actually, I think the radar just updated, so let me get that latest scan. It would be near Patrick Springs at 3:05. Crits at 3:01, Nettle Ridge right now. So be in your safe spot in Nettle Ridge. Patrick Springs, you only have 5 to 10 minutes to get to your safe location. And just to set your bearings here, we're north of the North Carolina-Virginia border. We're in Patrick County, Virginia, which does watch News 2, and we are watching this very carefully for them as we would for you if it were heading into your neighborhood. Again, there's some arrival times for you. The storm rotation is still strong enough that it warrants a tornado warning. This is all part of a bigger line though, so you can kind of see that line is is not that impressive on its own, but you look inside when we take the x-ray with the velocity and you can see these little areas of rotation. There's another one right here. This is just north of Rockingham, near Ridgway, Virginia. This doesn't have a warning yet, but that could be the next one. But there is some rotation just south of Ridgway. That too is moving north and west. Out of Rockingham very shortly, but it wouldn't shock me if there's some funnel action going on with that one or some lowering of the cloud, not far from Martinsville, Virginia. So there's your only tornado warning at the moment. Scanning everywhere else in our area, we have some new rain happening in Alamance County, new rain happening in Liberty. None of these are spinning yet. Hopefully they don't. But that's what we're following there closer to home. Outside in the foothills, another one in Burke and Caldwell counties, and then into South Carolina, we have several more tornado warnings. So we'll just not try and run and walk at the same time. We'll do it one at a time. But this is your tornado warning that does continue only for Patrick County, Virginia. Other counties are in that polygon, but the Weather Service is busy. I'm letting you know, they're going to trim those out. It's just for Patrick County because that's where the spinning and that's where the rotation is at this time. Right near Nettle Ridge, right just south of Reynolds Mill, and very close to Patrick Springs, Virginia, okay? Right near Patrick Springs, Virginia. I believe we have some new photos, some new pictures coming in as well, if we're able to show them. Now check this out. This is from the rainfall. You know, we talked about tornadoes a lot this afternoon, but we're also looking at the threat of flooding. We're looking at the threat of heavy rain. So when that rolls through, sometimes you need crews like this, and the Winston-Salem Fire Department Water Rescue Team, they've been deployed. They're going to go help their friends out for Tropical Storm Fred. Looks like they're teaming up with Greensboro Fire Department Urban Search and Rescue as well. Not exactly sure where they're going, but anywhere that needs their help. The biggest flood threats with this storm system are actually going to be in the North Carolina mountains. Those are the spots that could see the most rainfall today. They have a high level of flood risk with this storm system, much higher than we do. In fact, let me try and get that map for you and show you. There you have the mountains, you know, they're going to have somewhere between 5 to 8 inches of rainfall south of Asheville. So those are the areas at biggest risk. And a lot of times in tropical systems like this, they can have not just rain, but also landslides and mudslides that develop because the ground gets just pretty unstable in this situation. Christian Morgan, you've been tracking this ever since this morning. We're going to get you coffee next, but first we're going to make you talk about the weather a little bit more.
All right, weather-wise across the Triad. Thanks for getting back to me here, Tim. I do want to draw your attention to the fact, if you're just joining us, over the last hour or so, we do have a new tornado watch that's been issued. Of course, as we know, these areas are not under tornado warnings right now, but it just means the conditions are right, at least through the evening hours, and this goes until about 7 o'clock tonight for our northwest counties. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see some more of the Triad included in these tornado watches as we go into the evening hours, because we still have kind of what Tim and I have called a mega band with Fred coming through. So let's zoom out super wide here and show you what we've got going on in a real quick chance to reset here. It's 2:56 in the afternoon. You're watching WFMY News 2. The reason we are on your TV, of course, is that we have a tornado warning in our area. Right now, it's for Patrick County, Virginia. That's the only one in our area. But notice, all of this, of course, is because of Tropical Depression Fred. We have these outer bands that are forming and then moving north into the Piedmont. The one thing we're going to keep our eye on, unfortunately, I think we have this low tornado risk at least through dinner time, maybe even up until midnight tonight, because this mega band, if you will, that we've called it, is still yet to come through the Piedmont. And throughout the morning and through the early afternoon, this has produced several tornadoes in Georgia and down in South Carolina. You notice 2 tornado warnings on this band right now, one in the upstate of South Carolina and one down into the southern part of the state as well. So all of this is still yet to come as we go throughout the evening hours and on into the night. Of course, what we are keeping our eyes on, of course, only one tornado warning in the area at the moment. That is for Patrick County, Virginia. And as I look at this now, to me, it doesn't really seem all that impressive now. Of course, it was impressive a few minutes ago, but as it moves right over Highway 58, it does look like it's shown signs of weakening. So that, of course, is good news. And as it moves up to the north, we've seen these things start to weaken a little bit sooner. The one in Caswell County, of course, kind of spun up quickly and then weakened back down and fell apart. And we're kind of watching the same thing happening with this one. But again, if you're in Patrick County, Virginia, this tornado warning still continues for you. This is for Patrick Springs. Blackberry are also included in this, but it looks like the storm really is kind of moving off to the north and west. Everything has this northward with a little bit of a westward motion to it today, just because of the general spinning motion that Fred has to it. So we'll continue to keep eyes on this. This tornado warning, of course, does go until about 3:15 this afternoon, so about the next 15 minutes, unless they allow this to expire early. Now, I know that it says on your screen that it includes Rockingham County, and I know that Rockingham is included in this polygon, but again, I want to reiterate the fact the storm is out of Rockingham County. The storm is out of Stokes County. So you're in the all clear, okay? You can come out of your safe spot now, and just be extra careful when you're coming out, just in case you have any damage in those areas, as the storm was spinning even stronger as it was leaving North Carolina and moving into Virginia. But this line over the last couple hours, you've been watching it with us here right on TV. It started as 2 little downpours in Montgomery County and Randolph County, and then blossomed into this band of torrential rain, gusty winds, and even some spinning over the last couple hours. And this is what we'll be watching as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon. And into the early evening hours as well. So that's the only tornado warning on the map for us at this time. Now, what I'm going to do, not going to forget about you folks in Patrick County, Virginia, but what I want to do is switch over and show you what we're looking at today. Most of our tornado warnings have been in the foothills or up into the north as well, and that's just kind of in location to where the storm is tracking. So the center of Fred is going to track right along the North Carolina-Tennessee border, right through the Appalachian Mountains. So a lot of times when we talk about tropical systems, they move inland into the coast of North Carolina, and then that extends westward into the Triad. But this time around, the track of the storm is going up through Tennessee just to our west. So the highest risk of tornadoes or severe weather are going to be from the North Carolina mountains through the foothills and into the Triad. Once you get east of the Triad toward the Raleigh area and down into coastal North Carolina, they're not really dealing with these issues as well. And I'll tell you this, the good news is that Fred's a quick moving system. By tomorrow at sunrise, Fred's gone. It's all away from here, and we actually start clearing out some for your Wednesday afternoon. Nonetheless, though, we're going to be keeping eyes on the radar. We're going to be keeping track of things as we go through the evening and into tonight. And of course, we'll have you covered. If any more warnings get issued, we'll have to keep close eyes on this. For now, let's toss it back to Tim.
Thanks, Christian. As we continue to watch Tropical Depression Fred moving closer, this threat is not ending anytime soon. Unfortunately, we're going to have to watch every storm that pops up and moves into our area over the next several hours. Even closer to midnight tonight, we're still going to be here watching the radar for you. In case your phone buzzes, you can turn us on and bring us to your safe spot with you on your phone. Right now, we have that line in Southern Virginia. We have a new line forming in Greensboro and Alamance County, but as of now, there's no rotation in that line, so we're not too concerned at the moment with any new tornadoes popping up. Farther up the road, we look into Patrick County. We're just not seeing the same strong rotation that there was when they put down the tornado warning back when it was closer to the North Carolina border. It's much weaker. It doesn't look that strong at the moment. So hopefully, and we're pretty confident, that means that that storm is not producing a tornado any longer. It has moved just to the north of Highway 58, just to the north of Patrick Springs. If I back up a couple frames here, you'll be able to see that as well. Let me zoom back in. Sorry to kind of make you a little dizzy with these radar views, but that's what we're looking at. It's not quite as strong as it was. So as of right now, we are going to be able to return you to regular programming. If any of that rotation gets a little stronger, we will be right back live on your screen, or if any new tornado warnings pop up, we will be right back with you on your screen. But we're going to reset here behind the scenes, continuously watching everything, and we'll be back as needed.